Yes, and I'd like to say a very warm welcome. It's not quite as warm as it was Friday night here for Hampshire's opening game in this year's T20 competition, but the good news is it isn't raining, and although maybe that we might get 1 or 2 showers later, which may affect this game, it is okay, and we will start on time at 7 o'clock. It is Hampshire Hawks against Somerset in the South Group in this year's T20 competition. Hampshire come into this game having lost against Middlesex on Friday night. Somerset, they come into this game in fine form, having beaten Kent and yesterday Essex as well. Commentary team this evening, myself, Kevin James. A little later you'll hear from Southern Vipers batter Emily Windsor. At the start of the game you'll hear from Hampshire seamer Kyle Abbott, but alongside me to take you through up to the top of the game and for the next few overs from BBC Radio Somerset, Anthony Gibson. Anthony, evening.
Good evening, Kevin.
This is an exciting one. I'm looking forward to this one on many fronts.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some good battles between these two sides. Somerset runs from Tom Banton and Will Smead, who'll be opening the innings here this evening for Somerset, and then an absolutely dismal performance here when Somerset were bowled out for 100 and looked to be down and out of the competition, or their hopes of qualifying looked to be down and out. And then, of course, that thrilling semi-final on finals day when Somerset came back from the dead.
Yeah, they did.
To win the game. So all to play for, and two pretty strong sides. I would say the difference with Somerset this season so far, and I hope I'm not tempting Providence in saying this, has been the quality of the bowling. There's never been anything much wrong with the strength of Somerset's batting, but early in the innings and at the death, in the last 3 or 4 seasons, they've been weak. And this season, so far, touch wood, much better.
Well, Martin de Lange's 4 for 9 off 3 overs yesterday afternoon probably emphasises that. Right, let's give you the 2 teams. You're unchanged, Anthony, and as the visitors, would you like to go first, or do you want me to?
No, I've got them here. It's right. Fine. They will bat Tom Banton, Will Smead, Riley Rousseau, returning to a former stamping ground of his, of course, here at the Ageas Bowl. He's been in tremendous form. Tom Abel, who's captaining, taken over from Lewis Gregory this season. Tom Lammonby at 5. Lewis Gregory, then another Lewis, Goldsworthy, Ben Green, Roloff van der Merwe, Marchant de Lange and Josh Davey. So that's the Somerset side. Batting down to, well, certainly Roloff van der Merwe at number 9.
Yeah, that's a handy guy to be coming in. So you've got 3 Toms and 2 Lewises in the Somerset lineup. Nothing like that in the Hampshire lineup, but they line up this evening as they did against Middlesex on Friday night. Australian Ben McDermott will open the batting with Aneurin Donald, then captain James Vince. Joe Weatherly at 4, having recovered from his injury. He played Friday night as well. Liam Dawson will be floating in the batting order. He may come ahead of Ross Whiteley and James Fuller. He might not, but that at the moment looks like Dawson, Ross Whiteley, James Fuller, Australian all-rounder Nathan Ellis, Chris Wood, the leg spin of Mason Crane, and the seam bowling of Brad Wheel. Those are your 2 teams this evening. Just to remind you, Somerset won the toss and will bowl first. And the situation in this South Group, it is very early days, but Middlesex and Somerset already setting the pace. Middlesex with 3 wins from 3. For me, Anthony is already upsetting the group, knowing what they've been like over the last few years, and they do look a good side this year, it has to be said. 3 out of 3 emphasises that. Somerset then with their 2 wins from 2. They're next with 4, and then a whole host of teams on 2 points, and then I'm afraid propping up the table with no points. Well, Kent have played 3 and haven't got any. Hampshire have only played 1 and haven't got any.
It's very early days. You know, there are 14 games in the qualifying section of this, and I think it's far too early to be drawing any real conclusions as to who's likely to be qualifying and who's not. Sussex are obviously strong, Middlesex are strong, Hampshire looks strong, Somerset have started well, Gloucestershire are always good. You know, wherever you look, there are potential qualifiers in this South Group, which, you know, in recent years has been stronger, let's face it, than the North Group. Last finals day, all 4 of the teams were from the South Group.
Yeah, and you wouldn't rule that out again this year, which is the way it's shaping up. I have to say, it's very difficult to call. And with 14 group matches, as we saw last year with Hampshire, where they were absolutely abysmal for the first half and then absolutely unbelievable for the second half, that things can change. So what looks like halfway through, looks like to be a top 4, can totally change in the second half of the group. So we won't get too carried away with anything at the moment, but as I say, already 1 or 2 teams are just backing up, looking strong by performances on the field. Hampshire, they were just slightly below par in all 3 facets on Friday night. They were okay in the field, they were okay bowling, and they were sort of okay batting, but it was a sort of performance that just a couple of % in each of those areas. And of course, at the end of the day, it was only a 10-run margin between the 2 sides, but it's just those couple of percentage points all round that Hampshire really struggled with. And I think the death bowling needs looking at, that's for sure. Middlesex scored 32 off the last 2 overs, 18 off Brad Wheel's last over, but I think that comes through not playing regularly, because you'll know in the 4-day game he wasn't at Taunton.
He was at Gloucester, he was at Bristol. That's
right, and it was a flat wicket there. I don't think he got too many wickets there, but I think they've got to look at that. I think the spinners for Hampshire have been one of their strengths over the years, and they were actually out-bowled. Liam Dawson and Mason Crane were out-bowled by Luke Holman, I think, is the leg spinner, isn't he? Yeah. And Walla Lawita, the left-arm spinner. And that is very unusual for Hampshire, and I think that's one area they're going to have to look to improve.
Well, we've got a recruit who's made a real difference to the Somerset batting, named Riley Rousseau, who I think is probably familiar to you. He's so far, he has scored 81 in 54 balls against Kent, not out, and 67 in 29 balls against Essex, which makes his runs for Somerset so far in the Blast 148 in 83 balls with 9 4s and 9 6s. He'll probably get a duck tonight, but it's been a tremendous start. And because, you know, not everyone was sort of, when the signing was announced, it was, you know, okay, it's a good signing, but we didn't honestly expect him to set the world on fire in the way he has done in these first 2 games. And of course, Will Smeed last night as well, absolutely explosive 50. He reached his 50 in 25 balls. Riley Rousseau went 1 better and did it in 24, and the ball was flying everywhere. But we'll have to see. I think one thing I would say is that I think that's a good toss to win, with showers about. Somerset like chasing. They're much happier doing that than trying to defend a target historically. So that's a very good toss to win.
No, I agree with you, and I think I heard the PA was a little bit muffled, but I think we heard that when James Vince was asked, I think he said he might do the same. I think anyway, but I hope I've got that right. Well, we'll bring Kyle Abbott in a minute, because he knows Riley Rousseau particularly well. But listen, Riley had 3 seasons here: 2017, 2018, 2019, and we saw some innings from him that were just unbelievable. And you saw one down at Taunton in the 50 over game.
In the 50 over game.
Just sensational, wasn't it? He got 125 against Kent in the 2018 final, the year before we lost to you guys. 125 in the final, again, just wasn't quite as destructive as that innings, but it was just as effective, if even more, but playing in the way that he plays. But I think, and Kyle will probably explain this better than me, but I think overall, I think we thought that there was more there than we saw. That was the trouble. I mean, he played quite a substantial amount of this competition in the 3 years I've just mentioned. And actually, there was only 3 half-centuries from him in this competition for 3 whole years, and the top score of 60. Now, you've already seen higher innings than that in the first 2.
Well, actually, if you look at his career average in T20, it's over 30, which is, by T20 standards is a very, you know, high average, and he's done that at a strike rate of 139.
Yeah.
So, you know, over the years, he's got a very, very strong record in this form of the game.
But he's exciting, and
nice
there will be many people.
He's for such a big hitter, he's a surprisingly quiet and modest man.
He is, and as I say, Carl will have more on that in a moment. But he is, and I know in a perverse way, I'm looking forward to seeing him bat tonight, because. But I would say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how frustrating was he? I would almost go as far as to say 7, but the other 3.
Did he get himself out?
Oh, I mean, so many times it was unreal. Because he hits the ball in the air a lot. I don't know if he's been doing that for you guys, and he does. But yeah, I just think there might have been more from him, and I think Hampshire felt there might have been more from him over that 3 years. But if you just pick individual games, you know, and pick out his best bits, you say wow, and they're memorable.
He certainly hit it in the air last night. 7 sixes.
Yeah, well, there you are. So that emphasises that.
Going everywhere.
But
one of which ended up in the River Tone.
Did it? Oh gosh. You've never played properly at Taunton unless you've got one at River Tone, have you? You can never say you've been a proper player until you've done that. We are minutes away here from Hampshire Hawks against Somerset in the T20 competition 2022. 2 games only this evening, one in the South Group and one in the North Group. That is Nottinghamshire against Northamptonshire. That game held over from yesterday because a certain Nottingham Forest Football Club and just about everybody in Nottingham went down to Wembley yesterday, so they decided to cancel that game and play it tonight. So just the 2 games, and it'll be one here that I think Hampshire will certainly want to win this. I don't think they'll want to be 2 defeats in 2, but Somerset will want to keep their momentum going, and this competition is all about momentum, and when you've got it, the game is easy, and you tend to find wins easy. But then on the flip side of that, when you have a little run of defeats, the game becomes particularly hard. It looks like the Somerset players are making their way down the stairs at the far end of the ground, and there's 2 rows of young children with yellow flags that are forming a little column for the Somerset players to walk out onto the field of play. Now, the weather situation, we are expecting probably one shower, at least maybe another or 2, I don't know, but when I look around, it doesn't look too bad. In fact, if anything, it looks a little bit more threatening than it did 20 minutes ago, but we are going to start on time, and I think we will get a fair chunk of play. A little later, we'll hear from Southern Vipers batter Emily Windsor, but coming in alongside myself and Anthony Gibson to take you through this initial period of play is Hampshire seamer Carl Abbott. Carl, good evening.
Evening, J-Mo. Good evening, everyone listening. Good to be back up here.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. I know you've done it several times up here. We were just talking about Riley Russo, of course, your big mate. I'm just wondering if you're up here because you want to have a good vantage point of watching him bat.
Yeah, absolutely. He certainly got off to a good start so far at his new home down in Taunton. Very happy for him. He's done well in the leagues around the world since he left us a couple of years ago. So, yeah, going to be interesting to see how he goes against us tonight. I assume a pretty different pitch to what he's come across in the last couple of games. Obviously been under covers quite a bit today and a little bit yesterday. So, yeah, if it does a little bit and some bigger boundaries, as I overheard you say earlier, he does have a tendency to hit the ball up in the air and give chances quite early on. So, let's see. Somerset are a great outfit, but as are Hampshire, so I think we're in for a very good game tonight.
This has the potential, Anthony, doesn't it, of being an absolute cracker tonight. I hope it lives up to its billing.
It does. I hope it doesn't turn out like the same game here last year when we were bowled out for Hampshire got 170 odd and we were bowled out for 100.
We do. It's going to be Tom Lammerby, the left-arm seamer, to open up from our commentary end, the hotel end, and he's bowling his first delivery to Donald, who works that up to mid-off, and there's no run. So Aneirin Donald and Ben McDermott opening the batting, and Tom Lammerby with his left-arm seamers opening up for Somerset. Somerset in their sort of, what are they, sort of maroon and black tops?
Yeah, maroon and black, yeah, yep. Which is the club colours.
Yep, of course they are.
Club colours.
Of course. And dark trousers, and Hampshire in their fluorescent yellow tops and dark blue trousers as Lamberby comes in again, and Donald gets one and thinks about a single, but it quickly goes out to the covers where Abel fields, and there is no run.
He's been given the task of bowling the first over, Tom Lammerby, in both of the first 2 games, and done pretty well.
Yeah, just a hint of swing then. I made a comment a couple of weeks ago. I'm pretty surprised we actually haven't seen him roll out a few in Championship. If you can get it to shape nicely like this, I'm sure he could be pretty handy with the red ball too. Yeah,
I say the red ball's a little bit easier to swing, isn't it? There's, oh, that swung in, and that's an inside edge onto the pad. There's that movement you've been talking about, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, just with the overhead conditions and the pitch being under covers, I just feel like there might be a little bit of movement there. So the first 6 overs, as much as Hampshire would like to get on with it here, as we normally see in T20s, might not be a bad idea just to be cautious and get through this new ball.
12 wickets in 44 matches in the T20 for Lambie, as that's a length ball. Donald wants a single. It's gone about a third of the way down, but no, says Ben McDermott, as it goes out into the covers, and there's no run. The economy rate is a fraction under 10 and over, 9.7 for Lambie.
He had a foot injury. That's why he wasn't. That's why he didn't bowl in the championship game.
Oh, okay.
Down here.
Probably just as well. Really. That was a wicket to bowl on, wasn't it, in that 4-day game at Taunton? Woof. Here comes Lannonby, and that's wide. He's trying to chase that, Donald, but that's going to be called a wide, and that's the first runs on the board. Now, we had a good crowd on Friday night. I reckon, what do you reckon, 7,000, 8,000 maybe? Oh, you weren't here.
I wasn't here, Jamie. I was watching on live stream from the Cotswolds.
Could you not tell how many people? From where?
From the Cotswolds.
Right. Very posh.
Airbnb, was it?
Just having a little weekend away.
Very nice.
R&R, yeah.
But Bourton on the Water, is it? Is that no, not quite.
We're in Broadway.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
That's Donald driving, doesn't time it, goes back to Lannonby, throws the stumps down, it ricochets out on the leg side. Donald's thinking about a single. I'm not sure Ben McDermott was quite aware of the situation. It would have been tight anyway, and there's no run. One without loss, the score remains. Yeah, you'd have been difficult to tell on the live stream how many people were here, but we reckon about 7,000 to 8,000. Not quite as many as that tonight. The weather, of course, hasn't helped this afternoon. There's been some rain around here.
What's the forecast?
There is another shower forecast, isn't there? At about 8 o'clock, I think. But I think you said earlier, Carl, the one that was forecast at 6:30 came through earlier. So that was good news, of course. Lannonby bowls, it's full. Donald drives, and it's stopped in the covers. Good diving stop. But that'll be a single, and Donald will keep the strike. Not a bad opening over from Tom Lannonby.
Good piece of fielding as well by another cricketer I expect Kyle knows pretty well, Roelof van der Merwe there.
Yeah, I thought Jamo hesitated there because he couldn't get the pronunciation out.
What is it again?
Roelof van der Merwe. It's quite easy. It just rolls off the tongue.
For you it does.
A great opening over there from Lannonby. Really got the ball to swing nicely there, except for the one that just went across Donald for a wide. But going back to what you mentioned about his economy rate of just under 9 or just under 10, I think you said.
Just under 10, yeah.
I think doing majority of his bowling down at Taunton and some of the wickets they produced there, I think is pretty par. Down there, there's some really good scores on a quick small ground.
Here's Josh Davey to bowl the second over. He's bowling to Naren Dolland, who this is in the air and is caught, and that is the first wicket. And I'm not sure who that is.
Smeed, I think.
There. It is. It's Will Smeed taking the catch out on the deep backward square leg boundary, and that is the end of Naren Dolland for just one. Very dangerous customer he is too. So that's the perfect start for Somerset. And Josh Davey doing here what he's done so far in the first 2 games. He took 1 for 18 in 4 overs against Kent and 3 for 31 in 4 overs against Essex on a hybrid pitch at Taunton yesterday. So he's been bowling really well.
Just bowl straight, line and length, especially in these opening overs. A little bit disappointing for Naren Dolland. I'm just wondering, the fact the first over didn't really get any momentum, and I guess you're looking for a big shot early in the second over, and actually timed it quite nicely, didn't he, really?
I don't think he could have picked him out any better.
It's quite a big boundary, that, isn't it?
So Donald goes, and James Vince, the captain, is in at number 3, striking at 132, which is up there.
2 for 1. A wide and a single. Second ball of the second over. We've got a slip in. Gregory at slip. Davey bowls. This is pulled away into the onside. Smeed is after it. They'll cut it off. They'll think about 2 as it's a long boundary, but they decide not to take on Will Smeed's arm, which is probably advisable. He's a very strong young man. Young being the operative word. He's just 20 years old. And he's the new hero down at Taunton.
Is he?
Yeah.
You have a new hero every month down there.
He's Taunton's favourite son. He's taken over from Tom Abel. Here comes Josh Davey from the pavilion end. He's in and bowls, and this is turned into the onside by Ben McDermott, who is a new face to me. I don't think I've seen McDermott play before. Australian?
Yeah, Australian. I haven't seen much of him. I saw him a little bit on TV when he played Pakistan quite recently. In Pakistan, did very well in the 50 over games there for them. And yeah, just in the last week or so, having chatted to him, he's set it on well. So yeah, I wish him all the best, and hopefully he can get us off to a good start yet tonight.
Davey from the pavilion end bowls to Vince, who whips that into the onside, but Smeed will cut it off at deep mid-wicket. He's just come a little bit straighter for James Vince, as Will Smeed. 5 for 1 in the second over.
Top run scorer in the Big Bash during the winter, 577 for the Hobart Hurricanes.
Was
Ben
he?
McDermott striking at 153.
Well, he's obviously a threat. Davey then to McDermott. He's there and bowls and takes him on the pad, and no real appeal. Is that James Middlebrook umpiring at that pavilion end?
It is James Middlebrook and Peter Hartley at square leg this evening.
Peter Hartley, he'll give us something.
Well, James Middlebrook is top of the table for giving LBWs in Championship cricket.
Really?
He gives more LBWs per game than any other umpire. So you've got to keep your pads out of the way if you're batting these at the umpiring.
I wouldn't say he streaks ahead of whoever's in 2.
Davey bowls, good ball, good straight top of off stump bowling from Josh Davey, and 2 overs have slipped by, and Hampshire 5 for 1.
Slow start. I'm just wondering if the conditions are playing a little part here. This is the wicket we played on Friday as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, two great overs there from Lammonby and Davey, not giving much away. But I just saw, just off camera there, McDermott just taking a few steps out of his crease as Davey was running in. So already that kind of sends a message that he's probably not comfortable just letting the ball come to him. It might be just nibbling around and just trying to get on top of the ball before it gets to him. So yeah, I think that it probably is just nibbling a little bit more than we can possibly see from here.
So Lammonby to bowl his second over. His first over only went for 2 bowls, and he's driving. That's come back at Vince, and he's gone past the inside edge. There's some movement off the seam.
It's very encouraging.
That's one of
isn't
yours. That could have been Kyle Abbott bowling that one. Nip backer. But yours would have hit the stump.
That's the area to Vince. He does like that cover drive. So I think the more you can cramp him up for room, the better you're gonna be at keeping him quiet here in the first couple of overs.
Drives on the up, but doesn't time it. Takes the bottom hand off the bat as it goes out into the covers. That's Roloff, isn't it? Filling that one. Hope I've said that one right, Carl. I've always said Roloff van der Merwe for years, but now you're standing next to me, I feel like it's not adequate enough. Vince top scored in the Hampshire innings in that defeat to Middlesex with 47 off 38 deliveries. James Vince, and it's 5 for 1 here at Hampshire as Lammonby with his left arm over, and that's Vince just pulling that away on the leg side. Length ball about leg stump. Came down the wicket a bit as well. Didn't quite get hold of it.
Don't like the look of that cloud very much.
No, I was thinking that myself. That's a little bit too over the ground for our liking, I think. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Most of the cloud has been to our right, but Anthony's right. He's coming over Telegraph Wood just to the left of the pavilion as we look. And it looks a bit ominous. That's pulled away by McDermott. It's in the air, and that's caught deep mid-wicket. And he hasn't got hold of that one either. A length ball swatted away, and McDermott goes for 1. And Hampshire have lost their second wicket with the score on 6. And again, it's straight to the fielder, Carl.
Yeah, couldn't have picked out Smeed any better. But it just looks like as soon as the guys are trying to force shots off this pitch, it's just not coming on, and I think we've seen with Donald and McDermott there picking out the fielder. If the pitch had a little bit more pace in it, both of those shots would have missed Smeed out there on the boundary, but picked him out. And Somerset have got off to a great start here with Hampshire 6 for 2.
Yeah, no momentum in the innings yet. Conditions not great, and both Donald and McDermott out for 1 and 1, so 2 runs between them. Puts a bit of pressure on the batters coming in now. It should be Joe Weatherly coming in. Had a really good season last season, Joe Weatherly, which has really sort of put him sort of up there now in terms of proper T20 batters. 410 runs, striking at 141 last year. Got him a Southern Brave contract as well. And he has that shot on the leg side that we've seen both Donald and McDermott get out to. But this shot he's perfected off a length ball, and I just hope he comes out in the middle of the bat, because otherwise he's going to go the same way. Not sure we'll see it straight away. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Lammonby, runs away from us and bowls on the line of leg stump, and that's just turned towards mid-wicket. Bit of a chase for Smeed, and he was thinking about 2 there, Weatherly. Vince wasn't, and Hampshire move on to 7 for 2, having lost the toss and been asked to bat first here.
Very interested to see how Hampshire approach the rest of this power play and the rest of the innings now. I know James is a captain that wants the guys to really keep the foot on the gas, and with our our longer batting lineup, I really hope they go that way.
Lammonby bowls, and that's tucked away fine, and that's going down towards fine leg. Josh Davey does the fielding. Vince will come back for a comfortable 2. Another length ball there from Lammonby, and Hampshire move on to 9 for 2. 3 overs gone here at the Ageas Bowl.
Tom Lammonby 1 for 6 in 2 overs. Not bad for
steady,
a very inexperienced bowler when it comes to opening the bowling in T20 cricket. He's only done it in 2 previous matches. That was on Sunday, yesterday against Essex, and on Wednesday against Kent.
He's doing all right. Conditions in the bowler's favour, you have to say, at the moment, especially with a new white ball. But even so, you've still got to get the ball in the right place. And of course, sometimes that doesn't always guarantee being economical.
Definitely not in this format.
No, it doesn't.
The right area is often the wrong area in this game.
Joe Weatherly on strike. Lewis Gregory at slip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Saving 1 on the offside. 2 men out on the leg side, as Davey is into Weatherly, and that's turned into the leg side. And they will think about the second run, but decide against it, as Will Smeed comes in from the boundary to do the fielding.
Tell you what, with only 3 overs gone, Will Smeed's done a lot of work out at deep square already.
Well, he's young. He's young and fit and keen.
Thinking it might be one of those nights wherever he goes, the ball's going to follow him.
Well, he's in sort of strategic fielding positions at the moment, isn't he?
Very good fielding side, Somerset.
Yeah. Lammonby was lightning in the 4-day game, I thought.
Absolutely. Here's Davey to Vince. Vince down the pitch, driving into the offside, but won't get it past Roelof van der Merwe. Fielding in the covers.
Still good intent from Vince, even though they're 2 down. As I said, or as I asked, wondered which way they might go. Really starting to put the pressure, trying to put the pressure straight back on the bowler, just using his feet, just trying to disrupt Davey a little bit here, who's got off to a great start. So hopefully Hampshire can just get over this little hurdle in the next couple of overs and get some momentum behind them.
It's all about momentum in this.
Third man, Lewis Goldsworthy coming up, and Ben Green at mid-on being sent back, as Davey is in and bowls to Vince, who pulls this away, and Smeed will cut it off. He doesn't field it cleanly, and this time they will come back for a second run. It's still a good stop out there by Will Smeed, and they pick up 2 runs, move on to 12 for 2.
Very good stop. He just lost his footing from underneath him there. Could have ended up being quite embarrassing under the in front of the crowd there, but did well to get a hand on it.
You had much rain here today?
Yeah, it's a bit this afternoon.
It's been raining on and off all afternoon in Somerset.
Yeah.
Here's Davey then to bowl to the Hampshire captain, James Vince, and this is pulled again. Will Smeed is again in business out on the deep square leg boundary. This time it's just a single. 13 for 2 Hampshire. We're in the 4th over.
Certainly see that Somerset have done their homework on the 2 Hampshire batsmen straight away. Fine leg has gone back where he's been up to Vince, obviously with Weatherly's new shot over square leg that he played so well last year, and the 3rd man up, and looking to get him to hit towards that bigger side.
Yeah.
Davey bowls to Weatherly, and I think that comes off the pad probably. They'll pick up just a leg by, as Riley Rousseau is in the game for the first time. Not the best of throws, it has to be said. he tends to be hidden away in the field, Riley Rousseau. He was down at 3rd man for the whole of the Kent game. Was that?
I'm not too sure why. I think I hope he's not getting too old. He's an excellent fielder and an excellent slip catcher actually. So yeah, I'm not too sure why he's down there, but maybe he's leaving it to the younger fellas now.
It's only 32.
14 for 2 as Davey bowls to Vince, who completely mistimed and attempted, well, I think he was going for the off drive and threw the shot much too early. Good slower ball from Josh Davey. End of the 4th over, 15 for 2.
Well, I don't think this is going to be the biggest power play we've ever seen in T20 cricket, but as I say, the conditions, overhead conditions, the wicket looks not a straightforward wicket, that's for sure, as Kyle Abbott's been explaining. And of course, having lost 2 early wickets in Donald and McDermott is not helping either. So
Somerset have also bowled really well. They've bowled to their field with 2 guys out in the power play. I don't think people understand how hard it is to bowl, especially with a new white ball. It can really go in some funny places in these first 6 overs, but Somerset have bowled well, and as I said, you can really see that they've discussed these 2 batsmen and set of fields accordingly.
Lammerby, 2 overs, 1 for 6, comes in for his 3rd, and that's swung away by Vince, but that hasn't come off the middle of the bat. In fact, there might be just an inside edge onto the pad there as it makes its way down to 5 leg. And Vince will move on to 9, no, it might be 10 actually. The scoreboard, he's got him facing, so he'll be on 10. Yeah, and the total is 16 for 2 at the start of the 5th. Remember, 6 overs is the power play, with only 2 fielders allowed outside the circle. As that's a length ball, Weatherly just pushes that into the offside, and Lamberby quickly runs through and picks it up, and that is another dot ball. Hampshire Innings is struggling in about 1st gear here at the moment. Somewhere need to get into at least 2nd and then move quickly into the 3rd. The cloud update, I think that might just miss us.
I think that is just missing it.
And that's going to our left, which is quite unusual here. Here's Lammerby bowls, he tries to swing it away, gets wrapped on the pad. I think that's pitching outside leg stump, and that's racing away through where 2nd slip would be, but not in this competition. And that is 4 leg byes. He went for that one over the leg side, Weatherly missed out, but there wasn't enough swing there for Lammerby to really.
I'd like to have a closer look at that. It looked very full. I think you are right. I think it has pitched outside leg, but I think it's a lot closer than we might think.
That's fair enough. So the total moves on to 20 for 2, halfway through the 5th over here. Hampshire having lost the toss and being invited to bat first. Happy to say that cloud is moving away. That's down the leg side, and he's missed out on that one. Weatherly, I think that's come off his glove or the back of the bat. I think he was into that shot too early, trying to swat that away on the leg side. Maybe slightly too paced as well off this pitch. Maybe Lammerby's just varying his pace a fraction subtly. Doesn't seem to be a lot of variation, but maybe as the ball pitches, it's just sticking in the turf a little bit, and the odd one just skidding on a little bit. Here's that Lammerby again, runs away from us and bowls. And he's got hold of that one, that's through mid-wicket, or has he? And yes, he has, and it's just 6 through mid-wicket. Just to the left of Smead running after that. He's quick, but he's not that quick. And that is 6 runs, and that's come as a bit of a relief.
Yeah, absolutely. Just with those leg bars, and that's 6 now, just taking Hampshire's total, creeping up towards 30, which might not be that bad, considering they're 2 down in this power play. But that's the first shot that I think we haven't seen the batsman really try to swing at it. Joe just looked like he tried to time that. That might be the pitch, the later you play on this sort of 2-pace, slower pitch, and just look to time it more than sort of bludgeon it. That's probably going to be the way forward.
8 off 7, Weatherly faces Lammerby. The next ball comes in, and it's a length ball, and Weatherly cuts that away into the gap, back with a point, and that'll be 4. 10 off 2 balls. Now there's some momentum in the Hampshire innings, and at the end of that over, Lammerby's conceded 17 off his 3 overs. The Hampshire Hawks are 30 for 2, with Weatherly on 12, James Vince on 10, Anthony Gibson is going to stay, Carl Abbott is going to stay on, and then a word from Anthony, and then Emily Windsor, the Southern Vipers batters, coming in alongside.
Yeah, a bit too much width there from Tom Lammerby. It may be that there's always the danger of keeping a bowler on for 1 over too long. And well, we'll see. It's a bowling change from the pavilion end. Looks like Lewis Gregory is coming into the attack. Very experienced campaigner in T20 cricket. He's going to be bowling to James Vince is there and bowls, and this is pulled. It will be cut off in the deep by Will Smeed again. 31 for 2. Hello, Emily.
Good evening. Nice to be alongside you again, Anthony.
It is great. I watched my first, or I commentated on my first game of women's cricket yesterday. How about that?
Western Storm, was it?
Yep, Western Storm against Sunrisers, and Western Storm won.
Your home team won, Anthony.
Yep, it was great. I really enjoyed it.
Good to hear the competition.
Sophie Luff got her highest score in that grade of T20 cricket.
You must be a lucky charm, Anthony. You've got to follow them about now. I think you've signed yourself on the dotted line. Great start here, though, by Somerset, isn't it?
31 for 2. We're in the 6th over, last over of the power play. Gregory's in and bowls. Weatherly swings, misses. Oh, and Tom Banton lets that slip through his gloves, and it's just they're going to come back for a second run because Riley Rousseau as well slipping on this greasy outfield after the rain earlier today. So a couple of bonus runs there for Hampshire. 33 for 2 byes.
Weatherly there going to his famous, isn't it, slog sweep at the moment. That's been so successful for him in the T20 game.
We've got 2 men out waiting for it at deep backward square leg and deep mid wicket. It's a big boundary as well. Gregory in, bowls to Weatherly, who edges that down to third man. Well, there was width there from Gregory, and if you offer the batsman width, he's going to swing his bat at it. If he gets an edge, well, with third man up in the ring, you've only got yourself to blame. Yeah,
especially with this field, all up on the offside with 2 guys back on the leg side. It's certainly a field you don't want to be leaving the stumps to, and he did there. That was probably just inside the wide line, and Weatherly threw everything at it, getting a thick edge past Goldsworthy for 4. But it just feels like in the last sort of eight balls or so that the momentum's just started to shift a little bit towards Hampshire's way here.
37 for 2 as Gregory is in and bowls, and this is another attempted pull shot from Weatherly to a short ball from Gregory, which isn't called wide or no ball. The umpire just signals 1 for the over. Goodish short ball out.
That's a very good short ball. Again, brave ball considering the field with fine leg up, but he does have the two men out. But I think that's the nature of this game. You've got to double bluff. You've got to take a risk, especially as a bowler, to look for wickets. As we've seen, wickets certainly slow the run rate down.
Gregory then into Weatherly, hits this in the air. It's going to be caught by Ben Green, by Marchant de Lange rather. Marchant de Lange takes the catch at mid-on. And 16 caught by Marchant de Lange off the bowling of Lewis Gregory, and it's 37 for 3.
Did you jinx that, Carl, saying wickets bring the run rate down? I don't know what, you're in your Hampshire kit, but I'm not sure whose side you're on here today.
I might have just jinxed that, but it looked like it might have been a slow ball from Gregory, not too sure, but it kind of looked like Weatherly was just hanging back a bit there and tried to go over mid-on, but it's presented de Lange with a simple catch in the end, and Hampshire now lost their 3rd wicket in the power play, which, as I said, the momentum maybe just starting to claw it back has now gone firmly back into Somerset's hands.
Does the pitch look a bit slow here, do you think, Carl? I spoke to the groundsman earlier. This is the same pitch that we played on the other night against Middlesex, and it is a hybrid wicket, but the dismissals suggest it may be a little bit slow, the ball not coming on. It
does seem a little bit slow, but 2 balls ago, that bouncer that Gregory bowled really went through quite well to Bantam behind the stumps. It's hard to tell here if they're varying their pace a little bit and maybe bowling a few cross seamers. It's hard to tell. That it might be getting stuck in the pitch.
Gregory then to the new batter, who's Dawson, and he'll get off the mark straight away as Goldsworthy comes around from third man to do the fielding. Sends in not a very good throw, which Banton can't take cleanly, but a good over from Lewis Gregory. It included the wicket of Joe Weatherly, and at the end of it, the 6th over, that's the end of the power play. 39 for 3 are Hampshire. Not the sort of power play you'd been looking for.
No, I agree, not the one we'd be looking for, but from 6 for 2 to get ourselves to 38 at the end of the power play, we'd be happy. but the wicket of Weatherly there really hurt Hampshire in that 6 overs. But it's going to be an interesting to see how Hampshire attack this middle period. As we saw on Friday night, a lot of twos on this ground now that the field's gone back. Whether or not they'll still look to take on the big boundaries and get more boundaries, or if they're going to be happy to rotate the strike through this middle order and set it up for the hitters at the back like Fuller and Ross Whiteley.
Ben Green then from the hotel end will be bowling to the right-handed Liam Dawson bowls, and that's tucked to mid-wicket. They're going to come through for a quick single. The fielder does well. They're hit. He was out. That's a fantastic bit of work there from the left-handed Lammonby.
If he hit, he was gone.
I think what he said, Carl, there, the knock and run, but that was a risky run to a left-hander there.
Very risky run from Dawson there, but fortunately made it, say, quite comfortably in the end.
James Vince at the other end, the Hampshire captain, then looks around the field to see his men out. 4 men out on the leg side. Green bowls, and he's tried to tuck that down to third man. And they come through for a quick single. Vince moves to 12, 40 for 3 Hampshire. That was the 6.2 overs gone. Not a power play they'd have looked for, but it's a big playing surface here. Somerset bowled well.
What's par here, the Ageas Bowl, under normal circs?
I would say it's not as high as you think. I want to say it's around 160, 165.
Green to Dawson, tucked into the leg side, beating that mid-wicket fielder this time. Will just be a single. Dawson to 3, 41 for 3.
I stand corrected with that, but I think with the big playing surface and normally the time of the year, this is obviously taking place sort of only now at the end of May, but as soon as you get into June, July, the strip gets a little bit drier here. Often becomes hard to score, especially when we've got guys like Mason, Crane and Liam Dawson bowling.
Vince advances, this is in the air. Fielder after it.
Abel.
The captain Abel takes the catch. James Vince, the big wicket for Hampshire, he's gone. 12 off 14 balls. The score 41 for 4. Somerset right on top here at the Ageas Bowl.
He picked the wrong fielder there. He picked the wrong fielder. Tom Abel, one of the best fielders in the country, and took an excellent catch, running away from the ball, which is coming over his right shoulder, judging it perfectly and taking it two-handed. And that is the wicket that Somerset really coveted, the wicket of James Vince, who is such a dangerous customer.
Yeah, big blow for Hampshire, especially the captain, but just the record that he comes with can really turn the game around. But Somerset have bowled well here. They've stuck to simple things and forcing James Vince into coming down the track and trying to hit over the top on what we think is a difficult wicket to sort of play those shots. But Anthony, as you said, Tom Abel's an excellent fielder, and as he set off after that, he didn't really look like dropping it from the start.
And rain in the air here as well. That Hampshire wicket of James Vince, and you can see drizzle just in the distance, and the hoods in the crowd are starting to go up, but it's not going to take the players off it.
Ground staff are poised on the hover cover.
I was trying to figure out where this is coming from, because that dark cloud's moved to our left. It's quite bright to our right, and even a little bit of sun right above us. Probably sums up the English weather.
Right arm round to the new batter Whiteley. That's played into the onside. Will be no run. 41 for 4 Hampshire. And that was the weather forecast with Kyle Abbott. A man of many talents.
You see the drizzle now, can't you?
Yeah, the trees tend to give it away. If you look from our camera gantry, there's a forest ahead of us.
Umpires not looking at each other yet, though.
Somerset will certainly want to keep on the field as Green bowls to Whiteley. They play down to third man. Just be a single to him. He's off the mark. 43 for 4, made his debut against Middlesex here, and he plays some really fantastic cricket shots. He looks promising, but coming in this early, that's not his natural game, is it? He wants to hit the ball hard, and we saw that for the Southern Brave at the Ageas Bowl in the 100.
Yeah, very much so. The ideal platform for him would probably be from sort of 10th to 12th over towards the back end there, get himself in and then really launch towards that back 5. But presented with a different opportunity here today, and he's going to have to change his game and adapt to the situation quickly to get Hampshire out of a bit of trouble.
42 for 4 then, 7 overs gone.
Right, we've got some serious heat now coming from the pavilion end. In the shape of Marchant de Lange, fresh from his 4 for 9 against Essex. Oh, we did enjoy that.
I had the pleasure of watching him. He played for the Trent Rockets in the 100, the same team as me, and I did not want to be at the other end of his bowling. Fierce and fiery for sure.
Here he comes. He's bowling to Ross Whiteley, who turns this down to long leg. Roelof van der Merwe, the irrepressible bulldog, does the fielding down there. It's just a single. 42 for 4.
The rain's just starting to get a little bit harder here. I wouldn't be surprised if the umpires do, as you see Peter Hartley start looking up at the skies.
Let's make it difficult for the batters as well. You know, we're not knowing how long you're going to be out here for, whether you're going to be going back into the pavilion. Whereas there's nothing really to lose for the fielding side, except of course the ball's getting wet. De Lange is in and bowls, and this is again just dropped down off an open face down to Roelof van der Merwe. That's third man.
I feel if I say something here, it's going to be a commentator's curse, but I'm going to say it anyway. What normally happens in these situations when there's a little bit of drizzle in the air, the umpires wait for a wicket, and as soon as the wicket falls, they come off the field. How many times I've seen it in my playing time is quite silly.
44 for 4 in the 8th over, being bowled by Marchant de Lange with that great heave of the shoulder. It's just a single out to the deep cover boundaries. A strong man, Marchant de Lange, javelin thrower in his youth, and you can see that in his bowling action as well.
Yep, he was.
Fantastic bit of time in that though, wasn't it, from Ross Whiteley? Just let that pace of the ball hit his bat and fly out to that deep cover sweeper.
Well, that's the problem. If you bowl really fast and you get it slightly wrong, the ball flies very quickly. This is just run backward of square on the offside, and a sliding Lewis Goldsworthy does the fielding. Lewis Goldsworthy, who hasn't had a bat in the T20 so far. Somerset not winning by very comfortably on up at Canterbury, and again yesterday. De Lange bowls. This is pulled, but it'll just be a single to Lewis Gregory. 45 for 4.
The other thing with the rain, going back to that, which it has passed, it's not coming down at all, is the team that's on top, they want to be out in the middle, they want to keep their momentum, don't they? They want to stay out there, whereas Hampshire probably would have liked to have a little break, recollect in the dressing room, but not to be.
De Lange to Whiteley. Ooh, that's the attempted Yorker, which he gets wrong, and it's driven down the ground for 4 runs. And just to compound his unhappiness, De Lange slips over in his delivery stride.
Wow.
And that's the end of that over. And
watching the replay there, that's a fantastic cricket shot. He's timed the pants off that.
You commented how his cover drive went out to the sweeper a few balls before, but he's almost dug out a Yorker straight back past De Lange there, and I think that's gone even quicker than the one he hit out to cover. So, yeah, Whiteley looking in some decent touch here. And as I commented earlier, it does seem like a pitch where it's going to be, timing is going to be key. As soon as we've seen any of the batsmen try force it, from Donald to McDermott to Vince, they've all come unstuck. So I really hope that Dawson's a great timer of the cricket ball. So hopefully these two now can bat a few overs and just get Hampshire into a decent position.
50 for 4 then. Hampshire's green in again, pushed to mid-wicket, will be no run by Dawson. Somerset sticking with their seamers. Is that the way they tend to go?
Well, so far this season, yeah, because that's what the wickets really have demanded. There's been nothing in it really for the spinners. We got the 2 slow left armers, Van der Merwe and Goldsworthy.
In comes Ben Green, scurrying past the umpire bowl. So Dawson this time beats the mid-wicket fielder up to long on, would just be a single. Here moved to 6, 51 for 4 Hampshire.
I think it'll pay to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible. I think going for the big lofted shots on a pitch where it's difficult to time the ball with these big boundaries, you're in danger of holing out in the way that Hampshire's opening batters did.
The bouncy castle still a hit in the distance for the young children. I bet that's slippery with the rain, and I bet some children are flying down that on the hill in the distance. There's Green in to Whiteley, and this time he's got an under edge, but they can scurry through for a single. Whiteley moves to 8, 52 for 4 Hampshire.
I suppose the luxury that Tom Abel, the captain of Somerset, has here is that having 4 wickets down in the first 8 overs really gives you that luxury of bowling, I say whoever you want, but not really having to worry too much about who has to come on next, where you've piled on the pressure enough by taking those 4 wickets.
That's a play and a miss outside the off stump by Dawson. Just a little bit of a weight swing from Green there. Good
carry through to Banton as well.
Certainly a few balls have gone through to Banton, and a couple have really looked like they've stuck in the wickets. So going to be interesting to see how the pitch plays out, and once both teams have batted on it to get a good indication of how it has actually played this evening.
Can't really see it from here, but Ben Green is wearing his Marchant de Lange tribute moustache out there.
54 in his back, bowls to Dawson outside edge. That will run down to third man. He'll pick up a single. Just rotating the strike is Liam Dawson. He moves to 7, 53 for 4.
He's also got rather an aggressive haircut with a sort of mullet going back over the
That's
top.
the new fashion, Carl. Can you not be tempted with that? I've seen a lot of these. Sam Curran in Surrey, I've seen some pictures of him with the mullet.
Nothing good comes from any of those haircuts.
Green round the wicket to the left-handed Whiteley bowls. That's driven sweetly through the covers. There's a fielder out there. Will he get round? Yes, he does. Good bit of fielding. Whiteley comes back for the second. He moves to 10. 55 for 4. That's 9 overs gone at the Ageas Bowl. And it's flying off Whiteley's back. He's timing the ball sweetly. He's got a big role to play here for Hampshire.
Is he playing just T20 cricket, white ball cricket, or is he in the championship side as well?
I think he's on a white ball only contract.
I think he's on a white ball only contract. Although at press day he was in our first class in our 4-day team photo.
He's also played some second team.
He has
red
played
ball.
a few second team games. I wouldn't say he's unavailable. I'm sure if we had to get to a point in the season where we need an extra batter in that middle order, that he'll definitely play for us. And looking at the couple of shots he's played this evening, if you could replicate those in some 4-day games later in the year.
He's a very useful cricketer. I saw him quite a few times when he was playing for Worcester.
I played with him at Worcester in 2016, and he even rolled out some seamers there. He bowls some pretty good left arm seam when he has to. So yeah, really good cricketer, good fielder also.
Right, Gregory coming back into the attack from the pavilion end. He's in and bowls to Dawson, who hits that straight to Lewis Goldsworthy, who makes a good stop at backward point. 55 for 4. Ben Green has bowled his 2 overs, 1 for 9. Tom Lammonby 1 for 17 in 3. Josh Davey 1 for 8 in 2. Gregory 1 for 6 before this over. So Somerset seamers picking up where they left off against Essex yesterday. Gregory in bowls, and Dawson gets in a tangle, looking to pull that. Comes off his body and just drops down into the crease. He thinks about stealing a single, but it's not there.
Yeah, busy cricketer Dawson. And I think he's a man, isn't he, that I'm sure, Carl, you've been in the dressing room with him. He just digs Hampshire out of these tricky situations. He thrives in the battle, in these situations for Hampshire, and he's done it many years on end.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been at the club a very long time now, and one of the senior players, and he is a gritty cricketer, especially when it comes into these tough situations.
He's facing Gregory, who bowls, and this is driven fiercely away through the offside, but it'll be cut off by Will Smeed, who's been the busiest man on the field so far this evening, taking 2 good catches in the outfield as well. They admittedly did come straight to him, but they've still got to be caught. And you've got a long time to think about it as well. The ball's in the air.
No Max Waller in your T20 side this year, Anthony?
I saw him. Funny enough, I saw him yesterday, and he's got his right thumb bandaged up, playing against the Sri Lankan development 11 on Friday evening. Gregory's in, bowls, takes him on the pad, must be close. And umpire Middlebrook not sufficiently impressed to raise the finger. It's another dot ball.
Yeah, one might have just been pitching outside leg. I don't think it was swinging back enough to be given out. Lucky for Whiteley and Hampshire.
56 for 4. Kevin James is gesturing. I'm not sure what the gesturing means, but
he wanted a replay.
All right. Gregory's in and bowls. This is hit back to him, and that is caught and bowled, would you believe, completely mistimed by Ross Whiteley. And, well, Jeff Boycott's mother could have caught that one. And it's the 5th Hampshire wicket to go down with the score on 56, and it's the end of Ross Whiteley. Caught and bowled Gregory for 10.
A very simple catch there to Gregory, but as Whiteley walking off, sort of tapping the pitch and looking down, and Dawson just throwing his hands up a little bit. So yeah, don't think they're too impressed with how the ball seems to be coming onto the bat there. But nothing you can do about it now. You've got to find a way to get through this and put a competitive total on the board for Hampshire.
Gregory also is a skillful bowler, isn't he? He varies his pace quite a lot, and again, we said earlier, it's difficult to see up here whether he's taking the pace off, but he's bowling that length. He's bowling into the pitch, and whether it held, it was a simple catch.
Yeah, very good length. As first ball of the over, he bowled to Dawson, the one that he tried to pull. I think it hit him just in the sort of the midriff and nearly trickled back onto the stumps, and then that one got stuck in the wicket a little bit to Whiteley. So similar lengths, and ball reacting very differently out of the surface, which can obviously make scoring pretty hard.
James Fuller is the new batter. More than useful performer with the bat as well as with the ball. He averages just over 20 in 113 T20 games at a strike rate of 141. So he qualifies as he's a bowler who bats really rather than a genuine all-rounder. Last ball of Gregory's over. He's in bowls to Fuller, who plays that into the onside and belatedly sets off for what was actually quite a comfortable single. That is the end of the over. 57 for 5. It's also, I think, the end of me for 5 overs. As
Thank you, Anthony.
Some words from Kyle Abbott, and then Kevin James will be coming back.
No, I'm staying. You're just being subbed out. I think you're having a break. Thank you, Anthony. So we're going to see our first bit of spin. Roll off Van der Merwe, the left arm spinner. James Fuller and Liam Dawson have a bit of work to do here, Carl.
They have a lot of work to do as we've gone at the halfway stage here in this Hampshire's first innings. 10 overs gone, 57 for 5. Really not an ideal situation Hampshire found themselves in, but Fuller's at the crease and Van der Merwe's in to bowl to him from the hotel end.
Fuller forward in defence, no run there. Top ball. And in this period of play as a batter, Kyle, obviously you've come out and seen situations like this. What are they looking to do here?
I think the key thing here is going to be not to get bowled out, to try and keep wickets in hand going into those last 5 overs, and at least have one set batter just to try and really scrape some runs together at the back end.
Towel out of Van der Merwe's pocket, but that doesn't matter. Fuller's whacked it down to the long on boundary. Will just be a single. The umpire does the tidying of the towel, and Fuller moves to 2.
Surprised he didn't pull away there, Fuller, as he saw that it came out of his back pocket there quite early.
A white towel as well, wasn't it?
White towel also.
Fuller was clearly eyes on the ball as the left arm spinner Van der Merwe, 52 on his back. Into Dawson bowls, who advances, hit his pads. Van der Merwe fields off his own bowling again, another dot ball.
Can really see Van der Merwe getting into that ball. I'm assuming that all the rain that we've had this afternoon, that it's pretty greasy out there, and it's not hard. It's not easy to grip the ball that well.
Dawson then crouches in his stance, and that's played into the onside. They think about a quick single, but Van der Merwe, fantastic fielding off his own bowling again. Gets the slide in. Typical
Van der Merwe. He's all over the place when he bowls. He absolutely loves it. He's a great competitor, and I mean he's only bowled 4 balls, but almost already making an impact on this game just by his energy. It's great to watch.
Just changed the angle of his fielders as well as Van der Merwe into Dawson. That's hit down the ground. A cry of catch it, but it's going to bounce twice before the long off fielder. Dawson scurries through for a single. Here move to 9. 59 for 5 Hampshire. 10.5 overs gone. Van der Merwe using the umpire and his towel as well. A right character out there for Somerset. He's in again to Fuller, this time played sweetly into the mid-wicket. They're going to think about 2, but fantastic fielding by Gregory. Gets to the ball quickly, ball fired back into the bowler. That's the end of the over. 11 overs gone, 60 for 5.
Somerset have been very neat in the field so far in these 11 overs. They've taken their catches and done some really good sweeping up on the boundary. And as a bowling unit, that's what you're looking for, especially in games where it might come down to 3 or 4 runs at the back end. So so far it's been a really good show from Somerset, as we see a change of bowling from the pavilion end. Lewis Goldsworthy into the attack. 2 left-arm seamers now in tandem for Somerset.
So fielders out on the boundary, deep square leg, deep mid-wicket, long on, long off, and a cover. 4 fielders in the ring. Almost in a square as you look at them, nice and tight, extra cover mid-wicket as Goldsworthy bowls, and that's played to one of the mid-wicket fielders. Will be no run. What score here, Carl?
Well, Wasp on the board is telling us 123. I think Hampshire would bite your hand off if they got to that. As Goldsworthy
swept hard by Fuller. That's 4 runs. If he plays more shots like that, they're going to go way above 123.
Absolutely, they're going to have to double their score from now. So yeah, we're going to definitely have to see a few more shots like that from Fuller. It's going to be an interesting balance to see how Hampshire and James Fuller go about these last 9 overs and when to put the accelerator down. But that's certainly a good start, and putting some pressure on the new bowler.
Just got his line wrong there, down the leg stump, and Fuller punishes it. It's Goldsworthy in again into the pitch, played out to the square leg boundary. They're running the first one hard, but Fuller settles for the single. He moves to 8, 66 for 5, and I think I can remember James Fuller down at Taunton in T20 last year. He played a fantastic knock, won the game. As a Somerset fans, I want to see the back of him. He's a dangerous cricketer. As Goldsworthy in to Dawson, played sweetly up to the long on boundary. Will just be a single. He moves to 10, 66 for 5. The top scorer for Hampshire so far was James Vince for 12. Ross Whiteley got 10. Both McDermott and Donald out for 1. So the top order for Hampshire have struggled here as Goldsworthy into Fuller. That's played back to him, a dot ball. Fuller with new gloves. He was in the white gloves for the first T20 and he's made a transition to the black gloves. As Goldsworthy in, fired in, that's hit him on the pads. Half a pill from Bantam, but a dot ball to finish the over. Just 6 runs from it. 12 overs gone, 66 for 5, the Hampshire Hawks.
Yeah, good over from Goldsworthy there. 6 off it at this stage of the game. You'd be very happy with that if you're a Somerset supporter. I think what they're going to try and do now is try to rattle through a few overs with these spinners with little to no damage, and then get the quicks back on to close out the game towards the end. So an important phase of the game here for both teams. It's going to be interesting to see how the batsmen go about it.
The left arm spin of Van der Merwe from the hotel end into Dawson. He swept that. He's gone for a slog sweep, not got hold of it. Fine leg comes round, tidies up.
Just got a little bit full on that one. Just didn't have the leverage to get underneath it, and I think got away with it, because if he had missed that, it was pretty adjacent from this angle.
67 for 5 then Hampshire. In trouble here at the Ageas Bowl. The floodlights are on. There's cloud cover above, but it's not too great. So we're not expecting more weather at the moment as Van der Merwe in. That's played into the onside, out to the mid-wicket boundary by Fuller, who ends up on his knees in the crowd behind him. A few oohs and ahs.
Third Somerset fielder now that we've seen lose their footing running in from the boundary. Definitely can lose some confidence quickly as if you slip once or twice. But yeah, 3 from 3 here. Van der Merwe as he's into Dawson. He punches that one down the ground to long on. Lewis Gregory does the fielding.
It's quite a good crowd in here as well, Carl. There's some bananas to our right.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a stag do or something along those lines, but interesting.
Hampshire banana colours, eh?
Yeah. But a very good crowd considering the weather this afternoon. I think it would have put off a few people, myself included, but it's looking good.
Van der Merwe into Fuller, gives himself room, plays that down to third man, but will be no run. sort of the crowd are in clusters. Most in the Shane Warne and the Colin Ingleby Mackenzie stand have gone for the top half, just in case it does rain to stay dry, but there's some clusters. Braving it out in the sun, or sun, out in the open, hoping for some sun. There's definitely no sun here at the moment. There's Van der Merwe, left arm round the wicket into full. He's got hold of that. That's going into the crowd, and that will give them something to cheer about. Right on to the top, onto the gantry. That's a big hit.
Fantastic shot by James Fuller there. Van der Merwe just slightly short, and he's managed to get down on one knee and get a lot of elevation and hit that out towards the west stand here at the Ageas Bowl, just under the scoreboard. But that has gone a long way, and that has now just given Hampshire a little bit of impetus here in the 13th over.
I'll tell you what as well, that was a moment of glory for the security guard in his fluorescent orange jacket. He's taken the ball and launched it as far as he could back on the pitch. And Dawson collects it to give back to Van der Merwe. But 75 for 5 Hampshire. James Fuller taken to Van der Merwe. As he's in again, gives himself room, cut that away. Oh, that's a fantastic bit of fielding at third man. Stopped another boundary there for Somerset. That's a good over though for Hampshire. 75 for 5.
Yeah, great over by to get a boundary. They certainly did. A fantastic shot there by James Fuller.
7 overs remain then of this Hampshire innings. Slow start for Hampshire as Somerset picked up regular wickets. The wickets shared about for the Somerset bowlers. Gregory with 2, Green 1, Davey and Lammonby 1 apiece as well. As that's in, that's charged down the ground from Dawson. Goldsworthy, and just be a single to Dawson. He moves to 13.
Goldsworthy, not the tallest cricketer out there. Certainly just getting that ball on the back of a length, and doesn't seem to be bouncing too much, as we saw Dawson not be able to get underneath it. As he comes in and bowls to Fuller, again back and cuts, and he's managed to find the gap in front of point, and it runs away for 4.
Shot that by James Fuller. Timing, gave himself room, and over the boundary rope it goes. So Fuller taken to the Somerset bowlers here, and what Hampshire need. And Fuller has played some fantastic innings for Hampshire, but he's tended to get starts and not gone on. But this is now a chance for him really to hold his hand up to the coaches in that Hampshire dressing room. As in comes Goldsworthy again to Fuller, this time played down the ground. Can only find Goldsworthy, whose towel also fell out of his... If he hit the towel, is it 5 runs?
I'm just wondering, I wonder at what point that becomes a dead ball. As soon as it comes out of the back, as Goldsworthy bowls to Fuller, who swings down the ground and hits it straight for 4, almost taking Dawson out in the process, but hits it flat and along the carpet all the way for 4. And this over now has gone for 9, and with the over before 10, that's 19 in the last 10 balls for Hampshire. So a great little period of play.
Surely the Somerset bowlers, surely Tom Abel, the captain's going to go back to his seam, as the way Fuller is taken to the spinners these last 2 overs. As Goldsworthy, left arm round the wicket into Fuller. This play back to him, he's gone to sweep that, but adjusted well from Fuller.
He was shaping up to play the same shot to Van der Merwe, but it was just a little bit full, and ends up patting it straight back to Goldsworthy.
I thought he was going for the other slog sweep to try and hit the other gantry to our left, which is slightly further away. As Goldsworthy in, cut away. That's a great shot again. I don't think the fielder's going to get there. He's going to do his best. No, he doesn't. James Fuller, fantastic bat in this. Here move to 27. 88 for 5 Hampshire now. 6 overs remain.
Another excellent shot there. Goldsworthy's just slightly short, but he's managed to get 2 past backward point and split the cover fieldsman. So great timing from Fuller, and that over there has cost Somerset a little bit.
Pace is what we called for, and the man with pace for Somerset, Merchant de Lange, will bowl from the Hilton end, and he's a bowler, isn't he? He's a type of bowler that anything can happen. He bowls quick, the ball could go far, or he bowls quick and he knocks the poles down.
He does, and just judging by this field with a deep covered third man out, fine leg out, deep square, and corner out, mid-on, mid-off up. I don't think there's going to be too much in the batsman's half here, going back of a length as Mashan runs away from us to Dawson, who goes down and laps and straight down fine leg's throat. That wasn't quite there. It was actually a very good length from De Lange, although he does look surprised. Might not have been exactly where he wanted it to go. But once again, a Hampshire batsman picking out a Somerset fielder pretty perfectly out on the boundary.
Yeah, Davey caught the catch down there at fine leg. Dawson held the innings together there. He got 13 off 20, but he'll be pretty disappointed there walking off. But De Lange, anything could happen. He had his field set perfectly, and the Somerset fielders make no mistake. And Hampshire now 6 wickets down.
Yeah, as I said, judging by his reaction, he looked pretty surprised to get that wicket. With mid-on and mid-off up, it was probably a little bit full to this field, but Dawson had committed to the lap, timed it pretty well, and straight down Davies' throat at fine leg. And Hampshire lose their 6th wicket as I think Nathan Ellis comes to the crease, the Australian playing his 2nd game for Hampshire.
He certainly does. He'll be on strike. There's the new rules, the change of rules. The new batter has to come in and face up. There's no crossing anymore. So we've seen Nathan Ellis, pace bowler to pace bowler, as he sends De Lange back. He wants to get his footing right. As De Lange comes into Ellis bowls, that's full, and play a miss outside the off stump. Will be no run. 88 for 6. Ellis here will be looking to get Fuller back on strike.
Absolutely, and just judging by that shot, he just looked like he wanted to run it down to third man, get bat and ball and down the other end. I think that's going to be his job now, is to get Fuller on strike, as De Lange runs away from us to Ellis again, and it's played onto the leg side and easy single.
Yeah, elegant is Nathan Ellis when you see it. We'll see him bowl, though those that are watching on the live picture feeds. He's got an interesting run up and approach, and how he sort of jogged down the pitch there. He looks light on his feet, he looks elegant, he looks quick. And hopefully with the ball in hand, he will look the same this evening for Hampshire, because they're going to have to bowl well here to stop Somerset from winning 3 from 3 so far in this T20 Blast. They've won 2 games, beaten Essex by 6 wickets and Kent by 8 wickets. So they're a strong team in form. They've got some momentum.
Thought De Lange was just about to come around the wicket there. We saw him do it in the 100 and seen him doing it at the death in T20 before.
As he's in to Fuller bowls full, and that finds backwards point, will be no run.
I was wondering when you might change that, although he looked like he started to mark his run up from around the wicket there, but then changed back. I was wondering how long it was going to take him to change up that angle. It seems to be his go-to at the death overs. He's got the pace, and obviously he feels like if he creates that angle, makes it more difficult for the batsman.
Pace bowler to pace bowler as De Lange into Fuller. That's played nicely down to third man. They're running the first one hard. They think about 2. Great running by James Fuller. Here move to 29. 91 for 6 Hampshire. 5.1 overs remain. As Hampshire trying to get themselves up to a total. Give them something to bowl at. But Somerset, the team on the charge, the happy team out there. There's a plane in the distance flying away to somewhere probably a lot hotter than here at the moment, as De Lange into Fuller. That's hit him. That's a spicy delivery. De Lange straight to him to check he's okay. And I think we'll have a little passage of play here. And the physio will be out to the middle. But he seems to be okay. He's up and about. He
seems to be okay. I'm not sure if he maybe just didn't pick that up, because it wasn't all that short, and almost didn't duck or do anything, and I'm not sure if it probably has hit him on the helmet, considering that the physio has come out, the compulsory concussion test that they have to do now, so I'm sure that would have hit him on the head. But yeah, sometimes this transition period of natural light to the floodlights is pretty hard.
It was almost as if he didn't pick it up, wasn't it?
No, it didn't look like he did at all.
It was a fierce delivery.
It's not nice at all, that one.
Well, last 5 overs, the death overs have been Somerset's Achilles heel in recent seasons. We'll presumably, well, we've got, it's Ben Green is going to bowl from the pavilion end. Bowled his 2 overs, taking 1 for 9. So far, so good. He's going to be bowling to Nathan Ellis, who is another new face to me. Here comes Green and bowls to Ellis, who runs that down to Josh Davey at 3rd man. Slightly surprised that it's Green rather than Davey, who's been given the responsibility of bowling the 16th over. But probably just be a one-off, and then De Lange will bowl the 17th and 19th, and Davey presumably the 18th and the 20th.
So James Fuller,
guess anyway.
Yeah, James Fuller giving Hampshire a bit of hope and entertaining the crowd at last.
He's on strike now to Ben Green, and he goes for a huge hit away into the stand. That's a big 6 over wide, long on. Timed a pants off that, did James Fuller. It was quite a lazy swing of the bat, and the ball simply soared away.
Well, he's one of 5 men in this game that averages over 140. Sorry, strikes at over 140. And we've seen him doing this a few times. He is a very strong oak.
Here comes Green again, bowls to Fuller, who will look for 2 here as the fielder comes in off the boundary. But it's Tom Lammonby, who's one of the quickest in this Somerset side, and they decide against it, which means that Nathan Ellis will be on strike.
Yeah, including Ellis and the batters to come, it's Fuller that's going to...
He doesn't have a great career average, Nathan Ellis, in T20, 9.8.
Yeah, and he strikes at 114 as well, so he's not going to take you apart at the end.
Somerset want to keep him on strike as much as possible. Having said that, plenty of singles available. Green in and bowls to Ellis, who pushes that up to mid-off, sets off straight away for a single. Good running. And that's the Hampshire 100. They limp rather to 100.
Yeah, it's been a struggle, that's for sure. Of the batters out, it's Joe Weatherly with the top score of 16, but of course it's Fuller there at the moment that can do the most damage.
Yep, he's on strike now to Green, and he works this away into the onside. There'll just be a single as Lammonby does the fielding at mid-wicket. So we don't know. This is obviously a below par score, but how much below par we're not sure of, and we won't know until Somerset go out and have a bat.
That's right. I mean, it's been said mainly by Carl that you know, it's not the easiest of wickets out there, and the boundaries are biggish.
Green to Fuller down the pitch, and he's bowled. He's bowled. It's not Fuller. I beg your pardon. It's Ellis who's gone, and it was a peculiar. He charged down the pitch and swung at a slow bouncer, I suppose, a slower short ball, missed it, and it's hit the stumps.
Well, I'm not sure if it came off the bottom edge.
Did it come off the bottom edge?
It might have done, actually.
Not seeing a replay on the big screen, but it's the 7th Hampshire wicket. In any case, 101 for 7 they are, and we are in the 16th over.
Yeah, end of the 16th, that one. Yeah, just that partnership of 32 in 3 overs between Dawson and Fuller has been the only partnership of note, and Somerset have been able to have a stranglehold over the Hampshire innings. Lewis Gregory 2 overs, 2 for 8, and a wicket apiece for Lammonby, Davey, Ben Green and Martin Langer. In fact, that's the second one for Ben Green, so good stuff from him. He has 3 overs, 2 for 19.
And took out the leg stump.
Here's De Lange then, a bowls to Fuller, who plays and misses, trying to drive it down the ground, and that's pacey, and that's gone through to Tom Banton, and De Lange's running back to his mark. I'm just having a look to see where Somerset need to bowl their overs. They need to be bowling them by 20 past 8. There's De Lange bowls, so it's a low full toss, and that's swung away by Fuller. Not timed, but it's timed well enough through mid-wicket, and that's not going to be caught. Just going to have a look at the umpires to see if they're happy with the height of that. They are. Went for the Yorker there, De Lange, just overdid it a little bit, and well, the pace of De Lange means that even if you don't get it out the middle of the bat, it goes for 4.
That's his problem. That's his problem. If he gets it wrong, it can get very wrong indeed. He's either copper or gold, Martin De Lange.
I do love watching him bowl.
When he's good, he's very, very good, and when he's bad, look the other way.
He's the pace of bowler that you love watching, but you don't want to face. It's 105 for 7 then in the 17th. And Fuller is on 41 off just 26. Can he do more damage? The home side certainly, the home crowd certainly wanting to. He swings that away. He's not timed either as it goes out towards mid-on. And that's fielded by Lewis Gregory. It's just a single. Fuller moves on to 42 and it's 106 for 7. Even the bananas away to our right have got out of their chair and are standing up and they're enjoying this Fuller innings.
It's a Peter Siddle tribute act.
See what the bananas.
Allegedly, he eats up to 16 bananas a day.
Is that right?
He's a
16?
vegan, and he keeps himself going on bananas.
Is that good
Allegedly.
for you? Is it good for you, that many?
He looks pretty fit.
Oh, yeah, he does, that's true. DeLange bowls, it's a length ball, and that's worked on the onside by Chris Wood, who's the new Hampshire batter, the Hampshire left-arm seamer. And it's 107 for 7 then, with 2 balls left of the 17th. There are, how many bananas? I know Emily spotted them a little earlier. They're on their right. There's about 5 of them. And they briefly split up earlier, I noticed. 3 and 2. There's a joke in there somewhere. 107 for 7 as DeLange runs away from us and bowls to James Fuller. He bowls. It's a length ball. Slower ball. It's hit up in the air and it's high. It's going down towards fine leg. And that is caught. Is that Josh Davey again? And that is a good catch down there at fine leg. Top edge hook. It hung in the air. And Davey did well, just slipped for good measure at the end. The outfield will be a bit slippery anyway with the rain that we've had. Fuller goes for 42. It's 107 now for 8.
A very good catch by Josh Davey, because that went high. It was swirling around. And he tried to set himself. Didn't quite get underneath it, but managed to get 2 hands to it. And held on to it as he went to earth. Very good catch and a vital wicket for Somerset, because James Fuller was striking the ball, well, in a different class to any of the other batters we've seen this evening, and was looking very dangerous.
Yeah, he certainly was. He goes for a 28 ball at 42. And a new batter for Hampshire, I think, will be Brad Wheel. Oh, it's Mason Crane.
Mason Crane, I think.
Mason Crane in at number 10, the Hampshire leg spinner. I'll tell you what, I mean, that's the way to our right, those bananas, but to our left, I mean, it's a decent crowd considering the weather and the forecast and what have you, yeah. But there's quite a concentration of spectators for some reason. Oh, that's a short ball and that's swatted away there by Crane. I'm not sure he quite knew what to do. I think that'll be a painful blow on the glove. It is. He just shakes his left hand. Fortunately, that's not his bowling hand. So hopefully he'll still be able to turn it, if there is any turn out there. 108 for 8, 17 gone. I'm just wondering why there's a sort of a congregation of fans in front of that scoreboard away to our left, because the crowd is fairly spaced out evenly throughout the ground, and yet there's a concentration of fans just to the left of the tunnel there. I don't quite know why. I don't know if that's any a better vantage point than anywhere else. I wouldn't have thought so, but hey.
Martin DeLange, 3 overs, no maidens, 2 for 18. Following up on his 4 for 9 last night against Essex. Again, he's bowled really well. There was just that one full toss where he just overdid the Yorker. Other than that, he's been pretty much on the money, and genuine pace as well. That's Mason Crane being tended to. He was hit on the glove by that delivery from Martin DeLange. Looks like a pain-killing spray being produced. I think it's his left hand, isn't it?
Yeah, fortunately.
Not his right, not his spinning hand.
He's been dishing it out, Martin DeLange, hasn't he? Hit Fuller on the shoulder, and now he's hit Crane on the hand. That's what happens when you're a pacey bowler. You can inflict some blows.
Well, I think he feels he's got a point to prove. He hasn't said this, but I get that feeling, because he's not been in the championship side, because Somerset can only play 2 out of their 3 overseas players, and Siddle and Renshaw have been preferred. So he's been playing second 11 cricket, which for an overseas star is a bit of a come down.
But he frightens a few of them in the second team.
Absolutely. Here's Josh Davey in to bowl to Mason Crane, who will pick up a single into the covers. 109 for 8. Crane moves on to 2.
Yeah, now this shouldn't be too much to worry for Somerset here. Crane strikes at 81 per 100 balls, which I know he's low down the order, so you're not expecting him to do loads, but that is low. And Chris Wood strikes at 107 per 100, so yeah, I don't think you're going to see any crash bang wallop at the end here.
It's Davey then to Chris Wood, who runs that down to short third man, and Ben Green doesn't shy at the stumps. Chris Wood has he averages 10.5 with the bat. And Mason Crane averages 29.5 on account of the fact that in 16 innings he's been not out 14 times.
Yeah.
It's how to get your average up, isn't it?
It's good. It's a good game, this, isn't it? Thinking about your average. It's the ideal game.
Here's Davey into that man Mason Crane there in bowls, and Crane again runs it down to short third man, who's back on his heels on the edge of the fielding circle. Ben Green. The men are out in the deep, mostly on the leg side, 4 on the leg side boundary, long on, cow corner, deep backward square leg, long leg, and just the cover sweeper on the offside. Somerset will want to guard against too many boundaries in these death overs. Here's Davey in and bowls. This is over the top of Marchant de Lange by Chris Wood for 4 runs. 115 for 8. Chris Wood moves on to 6, and as Kevin James said, it was a very good shot.
Yeah, it wasn't a half volley, was it? Just hit through the line of the ball, just found the angle wide of mid-off, timed it nicely. Need a few more of those though, Hampshire. Difficult wicket or not, difficult conditions or not. This is, for me, nowhere near enough. I think, actually, we've probably got the best conditions we've had all night, actually.
Yeah,
even though we've got cloud
yeah.
cover, it's quite high now.
Davey, having just been hit for 4, how will he respond? There's an inside edge down to long leg, where Riley Rousseau does the fielding. Rousseau hasn't had a huge amount to do in the field. He's fumbled it a couple of times. But I don't know why Somerset don't rate his fielding, but there he is down at long leg. He's either long leg or third man, or long on. He was out for a time.
Saving his energy for his innings.
Well, here comes Davey. In and bowls. This is in the air, but there's no fielder anywhere near it, so it'll be a single to Mason Crane. Another over goes by, 117 for 8 after the 18th over. So 2 overs remain for Hampshire to try and post some sort of challenging total. It's going to be hard work, though.
Yeah, Wasp is showing 131. I think if they get to 130, I think they'll be happy with that. Or they won't be happy, but I think in the situation, I mean, you're 8 down, you've still got another 2 overs to go. And you've got, you know, the lower order in here now. You've got numbers 10, 9 and 10 in. Not ideal at all. It's been good bowling from Somerset tonight. They've been very disciplined, kept the ball straight, haven't given the Hampshire batters any width at all. And Marchant de Lange then with 2 for 18 from his 3, bowling his. Something wasn't quite right. The crowd give him a little bit of stick. They've got 5 minutes to bowl 2 overs, so they should do that. Of course, you only have to bowl your last over at 19 past, basically. So you should be able to do that, unless somebody gets out of the ground a few times. Will that happen? Length ball, Mason Crane misses that outside the off stump. Good carry through to Banton. Score remains on 117 for 8. As I say earlier, I don't think this is a bad crowd. It's down on Friday, but considering the weather forecast and the weather we had this afternoon, it's been a pretty miserable day all day, really. I managed to cut my lawn in before about 9 o'clock this morning.
Well done.
Did well there, yeah. I've never done that before. I've cut the lawn before, but I've never done it before 9 o'clock. But I realised it was going to rain, as that's pushed down to a third man by Crane for a single, 117 for 8.
I did our grass on Saturday. It was growing so fast you could almost see it.
Could you? Did you have to go over it again?
Well, it's a patch of ground down by the river, and it floods in the winter, so it's very rich, you know, with all the, and the grass just grows away like fury.
Lovely. Pay good money to get grass to go as quick as that. 118 for 8. It's Chris Wood to face this time. It's a length ball. He swings that away on the leg side, but it's going straight to deep mid wicket. And that's Lammonby out there, away to our right on the west side of the ground. If I actually look really a long way into the distance, or over the New Forest toward Bournemouth, and that, I can actually see some red sky as the sun sets away. But that is a long way away, over the trees and way into the distance. Here's De Lange bowls 2. Mason Crane, length ball. Crane stepping inside it. Wants a single. The ball follows him as he comes down the wicket, and he gets sent back by Chris Wood. It's like the ball's right on his foot. Get away, ball. Get away.
That's one of the more optimistic singles I've seen.
119 for 8. 2 balls left of the 19th.
He's bowled really well. I probably put the mockers on him, but I mean, he's been fast and straight.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, isn't it? Fast, full and straight. The occasional short ball.
Yeah, you're not swatting that away that easy, are you, at that pace? Short, and he's trying to swat that away on the offside, misses it, and Crane finishes where short leg would be, trying to hit that away, but it's too quick. It's short, and this wicket is carried well this evening. And Banton, I think, he's standing as far back as I've seen anybody stand this season. He's probably only 2 or 3 yards inside the discs.
Yeah.
Taking that. That is quite a long way back. Here's the last ball of the 19th. De Lange, last ball of his spell as well, and he swings that away and misses that as it goes past the leg stump through to Banton. That's the end of the over, end of De Lange's spell, and he's bowled well there. It's 2 for 20 for the South African. Then Hampshire 119 for 8 with potentially 6 balls left of their innings.
Yeah, terrific piece of bowling by Martin De Lange. Bowled very well last night, and if anything, he's actually bowled a bit better here this evening. And particularly in this last spell at the death. And if he can do that consistently, he's going to be a real asset to Somerset. He's an asset anyway, with anyone with that degree of pace. Yeah. You want to have in your side.
And the ball's coming off the surface nicely for him, isn't it? On slower wickets, it's a little different, but he's been able to. You can see he's enjoying the ball hitting the keeper's gloves, thudding into those gloves. He's loving that.
Josh Davey will bowl the final over of the innings. It's 119 for 8. He's bowling to Chris Wood. He's there and bowls. Wood swings, and there might be... No, it won't go for 4. They'll come back for a second run as Will Smeed slides to make the stop, and Riley Rousseau helps him out. 121 for 8 with 5 balls remaining. Wood on to 10. His highest score in this form of the game, 27, so he isn't going to beat that unless something remarkable happens. Davey to Wood. He swings, he's taken on the pad. Crane is a long way down the pitch and regains his ground as Goldsworthy picks up from backward point. Chris Wood obviously decided he's going to take responsibility. He's going to take as much of the strike as possible in this last over.
Well, I mean, out of the 2, he's got potentially the bigger shot on him, but that's a big hit on the leg side, isn't it? That's the slightly bigger boundary, and he's going to have to really middle it if he's aiming it over there.
Josh Davey 1 for 19 so far. He's in and bowls, and Wood hits this high and hard, and not... Yes, it's chucked back inside, and it's taken the catch. Whether that will stand, I'm not sure. It was a combination of Tom Lammonby and not sure who the other fielder is, but Chris Wood has accepted it. Brilliant piece of fielding by Lammonby, leaping high on the boundary, palming it back in field, and
well, it's the big boundary side. He did get hold of it, and I think another
Will
6
Smeed,
inches.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Will Smeed.
Another 6 inches, and it would have gone over the fielder's head. But that's a great combination.
Stroke Smeed.
Do they both get it? Is that what happens? I didn't know that. So you get half a catch each. Yeah. So when your career stats
did the business.
Yeah, he did it. But the career stats at the end of your career, and you took 15.5 catches.
121 for 9, then with 3 balls remaining. That's another wicket for Josh Davey, who now has 2 for 19. He's bowling to Brad Wheel, number 11, and Wheel swings and will pick up 1. They'll think about a second run, but decide against it. 122 for 9 with 2 balls left.
Yeah. Brad Wheel, another one, of course, coming in as low down as he doesn't get a lot of innings, but he strikes at 90 per 100. So as I say, you're not going to see 2 or 3 big hits towards the end of this innings now. In fact, there's only 2 balls left, so you might see 1 if you're lucky, but I think Hampshire will probably settle for 3 or 4 runs here at best.
Davey will try and minimise any further damage as Davies in and bowls. This is driven up to Marchant de Lange at mid-off. It'll just be a single. 123 for 9 then, with 1 ball remaining. This has been a top-class performance with the ball for Somerset. Just how good will be revealed when Somerset go out to bat and the Hampshire bowlers get a chance on this, but with the best one in the world, I can't think that 123 is the sort of score that Hampshire had in mind when they walked out to bat earlier on. Last ball then, Davey in, bowls to up in the air, and it's going to be caught. It is caught by Ben Green at short third man, top edge, went straight up in the air from Brad Wheel, and that's it. Hampshire all out for 122 in their 20 overs, and I'll be interested to hear what Kyle Abbott thinks about that, but I would say it's probably 20 or 30 runs short of a par score, even given the nature of the pitch and the bowler-friendly weather conditions and so on. And Somerset ought to feel pretty confident about chasing this down, because they don't need to take big risks. They don't need to hit the ball in the air, and I think keeping the ball on the ground is going to be the secret of success with this slowish, slightly unreliable pitch and big boundaries here at the Ageas Bowl.
Yeah, so a little disappointing. The innings never really got going. Your openers are Nyron Donald and Ben McDermott both out for a single. Joe Weatherly, top scorer early on with 16, and then Vince with 12, Ross Whiteley with 10, and Liam Dawson with 13. Your top order just not getting going at all. Somerset taking regular wickets, and really it was James Fuller with that 42 of 28 balls with 5 fours and 2 sixes that really injected some entertainment into the innings as much as anything. That's what the crowd are here for. That's what they want to see. And he certainly gave it to him. But when he was 8th out at 107, Hampshire still had 3 overs, just under 3 overs to bat, and trying to eke out a few runs. And it does look below par. 3 for 21 for Josh Davey from his 4, standout performance from him. But a couple of wickets for Lewis Gregory and for Ben Green and for Marchant de Lange, and a wicket for Tom Lammonby, who bowled 3 tidy overs with his left-arm seamers at the start of the innings with 1 for 17.
Well, just looking at the economy rates of the Somerset bowlers, Lammonby 5.66, Davey 5.25, Gregory 4, Ben Green 6.33, Marchant de Lange 5, Rolf van der Merwe 6, and only Lewis Goldsworthy really being collared, who went for 9.5, mainly because of James Fuller. But the Somerset seam bowlers are bowled as well as a unit as I think I've ever seen them in T20 cricket. Yeah,
they certainly did. So there's the standard set for Hampshire. We're going to take a quick break here at the Ageas Bowl. Now, if you're listening to us at BBC Radio Somerset on digital radio, and also on all frequencies on BBC Radio Somerset, I'm going to hand you to Kane Reeves in a moment. But if you're listening to us online and also via the live picture feed, we're going to take a quick break. huddle, and I'm sure there's plenty coming in the middle order. Basically doing a good job getting them to that total. 42 of 28 balls, but it doesn't look enough. I'm Kevin James. Anthony Gibson from BBC Radio Somerset is here. Carl Abbott, the Hampshire seamer. And Carl, 123, what do we think?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough. Again, very hard to tell once both teams have batted, but considering the dimensions of the ground, I would think that it is not enough this evening. We're going to have to bowl. Hampshire are going to have to bowl very well. I think the team chat there before they came on would be along the lines of picking up early wickets in this power play and trying to put them under pressure. Some of their lower order haven't had a bat in this competition yet. Riley Rousseau's carried the majority of the weight in the last couple of games, so I think if the message to the bowlers would be if we can get stuck into that middle to lower order and put them under pressure, we might have a bit of a chance.
Some big hitting up the front, Anthony.
There is,
isn't
but I think they should try and eschew the big hitting for this innings. I think they should try and keep it on the ground as much as possible.
Riley Rousseau on the ground.
Well, I know, but it's, you know, it is a big ground, and we saw the first couple of Hampshire wickets, which sort of set the tone for the whole innings.
Here's Chris Wood then to get the Somerset innings or reply underway, and that's pushed out on the offside by Tom Banton. Length ball there from Chris Wood, bowling left arm over from the pavilion end, and I think it's fair to say, Carl Abbott, that Hampshire's bowling needs to tighten up by a good 10-20% from what we saw on Friday evening if they're to have even any chance here.
Yeah, most definitely. Although that first 3 or 4 overs that Wood and Wheel bowled on Friday night were excellent. Getting those 3 wickets of the Middlesex batsmen, but they're going to need a bit more of that tonight.
Here's Wood bowls and down the leg side, and that'll be signalled wide, so the Somerset reply is already underway. Yes, Tom Banton striking at 146.
He's not in great form, though. He's been
not
struggling. He made 9 down at Kent and just 2 against Essex yesterday. He's just not timing the ball. He's been concentrating a lot on red ball cricket and hasn't quite established himself in the championship side, but I think his white ball form has suffered.
Here's Wood again, bowls and Banton off the back foot, finds the gap through backward a point. That's 4 runs, nicely timed, and that's just past the diving Ross Whiteley. I think I've seen a couple of people on Twitter suggesting, and it's difficult from this distance, but actually it doesn't say Whiteley on his back, it says Whitley. And now I can't see that far, unfortunately. I'm not sure many people can, but even with my binoculars, I haven't really been able to see. But a couple of people have said on Twitter, I'm just wondering if there is something in that.
They might be right. I can only see 4 from here. Definitely can't read any right.
The lettering is far too small, that's for sure. 5 without loss then, Somerset. Here's Wood, bowls, Banton's on the back foot, just steers that up towards extra cover. And there's no runs. Interesting what you said there, Anthony, about Banton, because he's a very destructive white ball player. But we saw, for example, in the 4-day game, him really trying hard, didn't he? Batting against you, Kyle, and Mohammed Abbas and Keith Barker, and almost it's so unusual to see Banton just block and block and block and battle it out. And maybe it is affecting his white ball game a little bit. 3 balls gone. Here's the 4th from Wood, bowls, and that's another length ball, and they'll call through for a quick single. That's very quick running there from Will Smeed, calling Banton through, and it's Anarin Donald coming in from the covers. Had no chance.
Well, he is quick, Will Smeed. Just 20 years of age, and 58 yesterday against Essex in 30 balls.
Yeah, he's a dangerous player, isn't he?
He is. But he's another one who likes to hit it in the air. And you're taking your batting life in your hands on this ground under these conditions if you hit it in the air.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. From a Hampshire point of view, he strikes at 139 per 100, which again is pretty decent, more than decent. Just taking his time to receive this next ball. Wood's got to slip in. That's Liam Dawson and bowls, and Smeed trying to drive that on the up. Doesn't time it. The ball makes its way back to Chris Wood, and there is no run. The weather report, the latest weather reports, I can actually see a little pocket of blue sky above us. Would you believe? I think that's the first time I've seen some blue sky in quite a few hours. But surrounding it is some grey cloud, but it is again is high. I think we're going to be all right, chaps. Just.
Well, we're certainly going to get 5 overs in, aren't we?
Well, yeah. Actually, I'm just looking a bit sort of 2 o'clock as we look, and it's a bit of cloud. That's pulled away by Smeed, and that's going to be 4. Back of the square leg, slightly too short there from Chris Wood, and Smeed was on that very quickly. He's off the mark with that boundary. 10 without loss, 10 off the first over.
Yeah, not a great start there from Hampshire. Not that they'd be looking for, especially from Wood, one of the most experienced Hampshire bowler out there this evening. Just getting too wide on both sides of the wicket there, getting cut behind point by Banton and then pulled behind square by Smeed. And Somerset off to a good start, 10 without loss after the first.
Well, James Vince ought to know all about Will Smeed because they've been playing together for Quetta Gladiators, with Smeed opening with Jason Roy and James Vince coming in at number 3. So distinguished company for the young man.
Yeah. It's not bad, is it? I've been told by Joe's in the crowd that it's definitely Whiteley. I'm just wondering if they've added the E since Friday night. They finally found one. The E they ordered took a few days.
It's Brad Wheel coming in for the first over from the hotel end, bowling to Banton, who plays a defensive shot with that characteristic just turn of the wrists to either to keep it down or maybe to look to just to work it into the onside. There's a big gap on the onside. We've got short fine leg. We've got the skipper at mid-on, and we've got a man out at straight mid-wicket, cow corner really. And that's it. And another man at deep backward square leg. Very strong through the leg side is Banton. And there's a comfortable single into that big gap on the leg side. Score moves on to 11 without loss.
The Bananas have got another round in.
I wonder if Siddle bought them that round. Yeah, I think Wheel will be looking to bounce back this evening after Friday night. Although picking up 3 wickets was a little bit expensive, considering the fine form he was in for Hampshire at the end of last season and the 100. Not the start he would have liked to have got off to on Friday night. So great opportunity for him. We know the quality of him. So yeah, hopefully he can take a few wickets here tonight.
He's bowling to Smeed outside the off stump, lofted. I'm not sure whether that was a thick edge or just an open-faced shot. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Picks up a single down to third man. 12 without loss.
It just seemed his lines, Kyle, were probably a couple of inches wider than they should have been, because you know you've got it tight. You've got to bowl really tight here. I mean, overall he went for 46, but he got 2 early wickets, which was a great confidence booster. But at the crucial times, like the 18 off the last over, and that the channel he was bowling in just felt a fraction wide.
What if that might just be a little bit of a red ball hangover? Yeah, he would have played majority of that in the last 2 months. That. Yeah. Kind of used to that 4th, 5th stump, which in T20 cricket is with, unfortunately.
Wheel to Banton, who plays a rather ugly cross-batted shot to a ball on off stump. Brad Wheel had a rather torrid time of it, playing for Gloucestershire against Somerset up at Bristol, going for 122 in 26 overs, just the 1 wicket. And he didn't look nearly as good a bowler in that game as I was used to seeing him here last season.
Mind you, that was a high-scoring game, that wasn't it? High-scoring draw.
Well, we won by an innings.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah. And Banton drops this into the offside, sets off straight away for single. 13 without loss. Yeah, we've won 2 by an innings and lost the other 4. It's been an inconsistent season.
Up and down
for Somerset.
There must have been another game at Bristol where it was a high-scoring draw, wasn't it?
Sorry, I think it might have been the week before
Surrey got
that.
603, and then Gloucester got 450 for 2.
Wow, exciting.
Interesting field here to Smeed. That third man's more of a backward point out on the boundary that we saw go out to him earlier in the over.
Wheels in and bowls, and Smeed punches that into the offside, but can't get it past Mason Crane at extra cover. End of the second over, 13 without loss. Somerset need to go at just a fraction over, 6 runs and over to chase down this 124, and that's more or less the rate they've achieved so far.
Yeah, it's a better over, isn't it? 3 runs off it. Need a few more like that just to even get a semblance of pressure, but unfortunately that might take a few overs, and I don't think Somerset will allow Hampshire that sort of luxury. But yeah, 13 without loss after 2 overs. Hampshire had 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Wickets are the name of the game here for Hampshire. If any of these batsmen get in and bat normally for 20 overs, they will end up knocking it off quite comfortably.
Wood switching to round the wicket here, and that's a nice drive through the covers. He's found the gap there, Tom Banton, just lent into that, and the ball, even though it's not travelling particularly quickly, has got enough on it to take it over the rope. And that is 17 now without loss. Just noticed the pick and mix thing over the way to the left. Did you make the pick and mix, Emily, last Friday? She's not listening. Sorry, Carl, you were going to say something.
No pick and mix, no cake. The standards have dropped since I was in here last year.
You don't want to be over this side because it's not good for you. When you bowl those 20 over spells, well, you know, in an innings, always just come back at Banton there a little bit. Good ball there from Wood as the ball goes out to backward a point. You want to bowl 20 overs in innings. Don't spend too much time over this end. It's all right for Anthony, he's quite fit, but the rest of us.
Get out of breath just going across to do the post-match interview. It's about a mile and a half away.
I was going to say, it's quite a walk here. Wood's game, round the wicket. Bowls to Banton, and Banton gets one outside the off stump. That's just nipped away.
It's a great delivery there. Great channel. That's where you want to be for Banton, as we've seen, just offering him a little bit of width in the previous over, and then early on in this over accesses that offside very well. But with two guys out on the leg side, that's as wide as you want to get there. Yep. From Woodman, which is it's pretty much gone over off stump. A very good ball.
Two of the bananas have just gone off to the bar again to get their mates a drink. There's Wood. I don't know why I'm looking at them all the time, but I am. I just find it. That's pushed out on the onside where there's nobody around that mid-wicket area, so it's a comfortable single. 18 without loss. Banton moves on to 12, and Smeed has 5.
I'm not sure if it was mentioned on Friday night. I didn't listen to all of the commentary, Jamer, but must be noted. Wood's come back from quite a serious knee injury. End of last season after the finals day, went straight under the knife and has really recovered well. It's great to see him back and fit and starting the T20 campaign and bowling well. I thought he bowled really well on Friday night, getting his 1 for 20 and 4.
Yes, he did, yeah. And thanks for reminding me of that. I'd forgotten about that, actually. Smeed's on the back foot, takes his bottom hand off the bat as he works that to backward of point, fielded by Whiteley. And Somerset move on to 19 without loss. I sometimes lose count of all these ACL operations, knee operations.
I think between Wood and Donald, they've certainly racked up a few in the last 2 years. But yeah, Woody always seems to have quite a tough winter with injuries that he kind of carries through a bit. But has this way to bounce back and start the season for us.
Yeah, doesn't play any 4-day cricket now. That's a good line, but Banton makes room and just works it on the 45, fielded by Dawson. Banton will keep the strike. That's 3 overs gone. Somerset 20 without loss here, needing another 104.
Yeah, just doing what they need to do, just picking up the odd boundary and then nudging the singles. There's plenty of scope for picking up ones. Very difficult for James Vince to know quite how to defend such a low total. I mean, he's got the field set back on the leg side because both of these opening batters are very strong on the onside, but just means there are wide open spaces for the singles.
As Carl says, it's wickets, isn't it? I mean, you know, even if there's a couple of quiet overs, it's denting a little bit, but it's not doing any more than that. So Nathan Ellis into the Hampshire attack. I love the way he starts his run-up. I'd love to see what you think about this, Carl, because he looks a bit like Jasprit Bumrah.
Yeah, I've heard rumours around. I haven't watched much of him. Saw him a little bit on TV against Pakistan, but yeah, interesting to see how he goes.
Here he comes, high stepping up to the wicket, bowls on leg stump, turned comfortably down to deep backward square leg for a single. 21 without loss. Yes, he's sort of coming in sideways, isn't he, a little bit? Who used to do this? Caddick? No, not Caddick. Caddick sort of leant back, didn't he?
Caddick was like Hadley, wasn't he? He modelled himself on Hadley
initially,
didn't he? Bowled like Hadley at times.
Yeah, fine bowler. Man of strong opinions as well.
When he's bowling at you, though, I'm not going to argue with him.
Here's Ellis in and bowls, and this is a lofted, edged really over the top of Gully for 4 runs. It's too much width.
A little bit too much width and slightly full, though they have got that man out at deep point, kind of third man-ish, a bit of an in-between fielding position there. So they obviously know the strength of Smeed is out towards that area, but just getting a bit full there from Ellison, flying over Dawson at a short third man.
No ball as well.
No.
Oh no. Dear.
Spotted by Emily.
27 without loss in the 4th over.
It's very interesting seeing how different guys go about their business, bowling actions and everything, and everyone's got comments on run-ups and whatever, but you slow that sort of stuff down at the crease, everyone's in a very similar position at release.
Yeah.
He's in again, bowls to Smeed outside the off stump, and Smeed gets a wide, which he does his best to.
It's another no ball.
Yeah.
He called the no ball before the wide.
Oh, did he?
Another no ball. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so, yeah, it was spotted.
So that
sorry, it would have been a wide also. Sorry to interrupt. It would have been a wide too.
It would have been a wide too.
Yeah. So we're going back. Guy like Bumrah, very short, compact run up. You got guys, Morne Morkel, Mitchell Johnson, long run ups and that. But as soon as they hit the crease, they are all in a really solid position, great wrists and release the ball well. So you can talk as much as you like about a run up, but it doesn't make much of a difference.
And this is in and bowls, and this is swung away, and it's going for 6 over the top of deep backward square leg. Well, he's a powerful young man, is Will Smeed, and he got hold of that pretty well. And that takes the score on to 35.
Wow.
Without loss. That was a free hit, of course.
Tough start for Ellis here, isn't it?
Very tough. A very tough start. It's a tough place to bowl up in the power play. But 2 free hits or a free hit doesn't make it any easier. It's going to be a case now of trying to get out the over and just do some damage control here on the last 2 balls.
Here he comes again, a slightly sort of mincing approach. He's up to the wicket bowls, and this is swung into the onside, but there won't be a run as James Fuller cuts it off from mid-wicket. 35 without loss, Somerset, and we're only in the 4th over. Yep. And they've got these runs without really taking much in the way of a risk. Just taking their opportunities when they've arisen. Other than that, taking the singles, of which there are plenty available. Although we do have a mid-wicket now, which closes part of the gap on the onside. Just the one man out at deep backward square leg and a deep backward point, except that's changing now because deep backward point is coming in to the fielding circle and man is going out to cow corner.
So thinking here, he's got to bowl fullish?
He's going to have to bowl full, take pace off him.
Ellis to Smeed. He swings this into the onside. It'll just be a single.
Well, what do we know? It was short.
I always think, though, with the 3rd man up and your backward point up as well, I mean, if you are going to bowl short like that, you certainly can't bowl it off stump line or even certainly not outside. I mean, you would never do that. Well, you shouldn't. But, I mean, if you're going to bowl short like that, it has to be middle, and leg, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. I wonder if he took a bit of pace off that too, because again, that's something that you can give yourself a little bit of room and ramp over that short 3rd man. Again, it's pretty hard to tell from here if there's any slight variations in pace.
It's Ellis to Banton, and Banton looking for a single again into the offside, well judged. They're running well between the wickets, these two. 37 without loss, with I think 1 ball remaining in this extended over from.
It's been a long over already, 17 off it. It hasn't been the ideal start here for Ellis, but as I said, you can limit these last couple of balls. Gone for one. If you can squeeze a dot or a 1 here and just do some damage control. 17 over is very different to a 21 or even a 23.
It's Ellis, 2 men out in the deep, waiting for the mishit on drive, and there's a very good diving stop at.
It's Aniran Donald.
Aniran Donald. Well-known from that well-known Hampshire family.
The Donalds.
The Donalds of Southsea. Southsea.
The Donalds are very well known on these parts.
Well, it's good to see him out there, though, isn't it?
Yep.
After all the injury problems
another one. He's
a good cricketer.
Yep, he's been set back a really long way, but he's come in this season and. Into our 4-day cricket in the last 2 games and played 2 very crucial knocks for us against Somerset and Gloucester, really out of character, but this format of the game suits him a lot better, but has shown the ability to adapt. But obviously great to see him back out on the field after a tough winter.
Brad Will switches ends, his second over. Let's come back at Banton there. Just gets tucked up and he's picking the ball up nicely. That's nice. Throws it to Donald. That's 17 runs off that last over from Nathan Ellis. Means, I'm just looking at the Wasp there, it's at 99% in favour of Somerset. It's a long way to drag things back from here for Hampshire. Remember, Somerset chasing just 124 for victory. And so far, we've got a full game in, which is very welcome indeed, no matter what the result is at the end. Walks across the stumps, try to hoik that over the keeper, misses as the ball goes through to Ben McDermott.
He doesn't need to do that, does he? Yeah? They've got the rate down to about 5 runs and over. Yeah. I was just thinking, it's very difficult to take wickets on this pitch with the white ball, unless the batsmen are chasing runs.
Yeah, I think we fine leg up. That's not percentage-wise. I'm not sure it's that bad a shot, really. Of course, you've got to get a bat on it. There's Wheel bowls. He plays and misses outside the off stump. Oh, that's just nipped away a bit. There was a bit of deviation. A bit quicker there from Wheel.
Much better over.
Yeah. Just big Banton just
are there
straighting.
I should know this. Are there bonus points up for grabs?
No, not in this competition.
Okay.
No.
Then, judging on a comment on Banton previous shots, trying to go over the keeper, thought they might be trying to get the game done within sort of 13 overs for that extra point.
Here's Wheel, and that's cut away, and he's found the gap. That's 4 runs down towards third man. The third man is up, a backward point is up, and that ball, if it finds the gap and races away, there's no chance of the fielders reacting to that in time. 41 without loss. We're in the 5th over. You're thinking of the women's regional competition, the Charlotte Edwards Cup, which you obviously study religiously. That's where you get bonus points.
That's where you get the bonus points.
Yeah. Of which the Vipers have 2 so far. I don't know how many Western Storm have.
You can't tell me anything about the Charlotte Edwards Cup.
That you don't now know after your game with Storm yesterday. Great introduction for you with Storm winning as Banton works that so down to third man. This time it goes straight to the fielder Liam Dawson, but they come through for it's not Liam Dawson. They come through for a single. It's Joe Weatherly with the towel protruding from his trousers.
Fortunately, I had Georgie Heath with me, who knows all about women's cricket, and she held my hand through it.
Did she?
She did.
Right. Yes. I bet you were into it by the end, weren't you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It's good fun.
I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed doing it. Yeah. Vipers next in action on Wednesday night up at Old Trafford against Thunder. There'll be live commentary of that one on BBC Online. I don't know where Storm are next game, but Anthony Gibson will tell you now that he's into Storm. Where's the next game, Anthony? Here comes Brad Wheel. Bowls, and that's hit, flat batted, over extra cover, 1 bounce 4 to end the over. Will Smeed, nice looking shot from him. A little bit short, a little bit too wide there from Brad Will. Smeed moves on to 21, 46 without loss, 5 overs gone. And whilst Anthony Gibson thinks about the Western Storm's next game.
South East Stars.
Right.
I wouldn't swear to it.
It will be on Wednesday night, yeah. I think that's the next round, and then the final round this coming Saturday. 46 without loss. Anthony Gibson's going to have 5 overs off, and coming in alongside us, myself, Kevin James and Carl Abbott will be Emily Windsor. So as we've got this fixed up the way we've got it fixed up, Ems, it's that one into that one and that one there. That's it, well done. Right, as Anthony sorts that out, here's Chris Wood switching ends. He's round the wicket, left arm, edge through to the keeper. Good diving catch from Ben McDermott, low to his right, and Banton goes for 20, and Somerset 46 for 1.
Yeah, it's great areas there by Wood, changing ends and picking up the wicket of Banton. Very important wicket, as we said. That's going to be the key here for the Hampshire, defending a very low total, and that's where you want to be. That's where the wickets have fallen tonight. Looking to just force it a little bit, maybe perhaps try play a little bit square and edging it through to McDermott, who takes a very, very good low catch to his right.
So Chris Wood, who's already Hampshire's leading T20 wicket taker, moves on to 154 dismissals with Banton going for 20 and 46 for 1. Emily Windsor, Southern Vipers batter, coming in. That's good timing for you.
Yeah, come on. Get a wicket for Hampshire. I feel like I need to stay on from a Hampshire perspective.
You got a big coat on now. Are you cold?
It's freezing.
Is it?
Although, weather update,
yes.
have you seen the sunset out to the right there?
How gorgeous is that?
It is. bright orange. The rain has disappeared. It's now, yeah, it's a deep dark orange out here to the western side, and really cleared up into a beautiful evening.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you're listening to us online or on all frequencies on BBC Radio Solent, unless you actually pop your head out the door or stop your car and look out somewhere, you won't be able to see almost like a blood red sun away to our right. If you watch it on the live stream, I'm sure James the cameraman or somebody can just point that way and have a look at the sun. Maybe he can't. He just nodded his head. He's next to us. He's going to point over there after this next ball, I think. The new batter is Riley Russo. It's Wood bowls, and Russo drives on the up, doesn't time it, and there is no run.
Will he be getting stick out there, Carl?
No, I don't think he will, but I certainly think he's going to try to prove a point and be up for this contest. I know what he's like. He's a great competitor. So yeah, he's going to be up for this occasion. Thanks to the cameraman, people on the live stream. That's the sunset we're talking about.
That is beautiful. That's all to our right, and we're trying to keep our eyes on the cricket as well. Russo drives through extra cover. There's a familiar Russo shot that we got used to, but that was a little bit of width.
Yep, wrong length from Wood, especially second ball to Russo. It's tough to bowl to him at the best of times, but that was short and wide, and a slap through extra cover, as you said, JMO. We've seen that on a few occasions in these times here in Hampshire a couple of years ago.
50
More
up
in the
then.
air in that area.
50 up for Somerset in the 6th over.
Chris Wood just getting some sawdust on his front foot there. Maybe just slipped a little as he bowled that delivery. He'll know. Carl Abbott, of course, will tell you that they'll have talked about Riley Russo. They probably don't even need to talk about him. They know exactly what Russo does, but you certainly don't want to give him width. Here's Wood, left arm over and bowls to Russo. Russo, he's almost edged that through to the keeper. That's not far away.
That wasn't far away at all. Slip it in there. Dawson applauding. He knew that was very close to going through to him. But that's certainly the area you want to be. I think this is the window. I think Woody, just looking down at the pitch after he bowled that wide ball that Russo hit for 4, he just knows this is an important time to bowl to him. This is the time you're going to give the best opportunity to get him out with good balls. Once he starts getting in, he'll start playing funny shots to those good balls, unfortunately.
Yes, he will. Here's Wood bowls. Russo misses, has an extravagant hoik over mid-wicket. I've seen that a few times, and I've seen that in 4-day cricket a few times, and so have you, Kyle.
That's why I'm looking away. I'm looking at the wall.
He's not looking.
Because I'm normally putting on my pads after a shot like that.
I wish there was a camera on this commentary box just for that reaction from Carl there.
Wow, that was extravagant.
I feel like that was coming up here though, if you got hold of that. It's a man in form, isn't it, if you can swing the bat like that.
What's going to happen here? Here comes Chris Wood. Russo drives on the back foot, finds the gap through extra cover. And that is Russo to a tee. The ball before, well, he looked like a school kid who hadn't held a bat before. That is a super shot off the back foot for 4, 54 for 1.
And I think that's the frustration many people probably have about Russo, that he's got the capability of playing such good cricket shots as we've seen there, and then has that rogue shot in him. It's been a trait sort of through his whole career, unfortunately, but he just has that ability to hit a ball. That shot was incredible. It was off the back foot. Just sort of stood up on it and hit it powerfully past extra cover. But yeah, as I say, we've seen years of that. Very typical Russo sort of first 6 balls.
It's exciting and infuriating in equal measure. If you're watching on the live stream, you'll see it intermittently, the shot of the sunset to the west. And believe me, it's even better in real life than it is on the stream, and it looks pretty serious on the stream as well.
So how the power plays compare then? Somerset 54 for 1. Hampshire 36 for 3 at the end of their 6 overs. James Fuller, a pace man, into the attack bowls, and that's driven on the up. That's over the top. 1 bounce to third man, will be no run. 1 run. Carl's taken a break to take a picture as well. It's that special.
Isn't it? Carl must have seen that a few times before.
Surely he gets it from the other angle, usually at the other end in the pavilion.
Yeah, that's true.
55 for 1 then Somerset.
I'm usually home by this time.
Do you just pack up your kit then when you're playing T20s?
No, my stuff's still in my locker. Still got my photos up.
James Fuller at the top of the mark, being made to wait by Riley Russo. Number 4 on his back, still being made to wait. He's done 2 dummy runs. Riley Russo does not seem phased. The left-hander then, 3 fielders out on the leg side as Fuller in bowls. That's on his pads. Timed sweetly out to the mid-wicket boundary. Mason Crane does the fielding. Riley Russo moves to 9, 56 for 1.
It's 239th T20, Riley Russo. 15 of those internationally for South Africa. Did you play a one-day game with him?
I played quite a bit with him.
International?
Yeah, international. He played most of that World Cup in 2015. A lot of T20s that I played with him too. Yeah.
Fuller in again, gives himself room, Smeed. I think about a quick single.
I remember his T20 debut would have been in Adelaide. He got 70 to win us the game, chasing about 160 or so, if I stand correct. That would have been 2014, end of 2014. So, yeah, he's played some great knocks for South Africa. I remember ODI, pink ODI and Wanderers. He got 100 himself and Hashim opening the batting. Hashim Amla.
Fuller in bowled. That's hit straight to extra cover. And Fuller celebrates. Will Smeed is gone for 22, a fine knock, but he's gone. And Somerset 56 for 2.
It was a sharp catch at extra cover by Aaron Donald. That went pretty hard at him. Will Smeed gave himself a little bit of room clearing the front foot, trying to get it over extra cover, but just didn't quite get the elevation, quite full from Fuller, and hit it straight to Aaron Donald.
Yeah. That was a lovely celebration as well, wasn't it, Carl? That's kind of a Carl celebration in a way.
I've calmed down a little bit on the celebrations, I think, but Fuller does enjoy it. There's normally a loud crow of boom when he gets it. So, yeah, he loves his bowling, and it's good to see him doing well. He's been really good for Hampshire so far this season. It's probably been his longest run across 4-day cricket and T20 now. So he's a good player. He's a dangerous player in every format, and it's good to see him doing well. Did well with the bat earlier and started off well with the bat now, with the ball now.
Speaking of dangerous players, Tom Abell, the Somerset captain, coming to the crease. Fantastic cricketer to watch.
Now, I tell you what surprises me, that out of all the players playing in this game, he has the second highest strike rate in this game at 143.
Rousseau has the highest?
No. Somebody else on the Somerset side, the highest in career-wise.
Fuller past the umpire, into Abell. That's played down to third man. He's timed that. The fielder's got to do well to get there. No, he doesn't. 4 runs. That's why his strike rate's high, Kev.
Yeah.
Off the mark with a boundary. 60 for 2, Somerset.
You just never think of that, would you? Lammonby.
Oh, I was going to go with Roelof van der Merwe. I feel like Roelof's someone down at the back end who is going to get you 20 or 5 or something like that quite often.
He's 131. Lammonby's 147.
Wow,
that is high.
Yeah.
What will Fuller's response be here? Slip in play, Liam Dawson. There he is, Fuller bowls, left alone outside the off stump by Abell. Through to the keeper. Not often you see a leave in T20 cricket, but Abell happy to let that one go. 60 for 2 then. Somerset, 7 overs gone.
Well, I think when you only need, another 64, you can afford to leave 1 or 2 outside the off stump.
Most definitely.
Unfortunately, I think it's the match situation which allows you to, if you do think the ball's there, and actually that was a pretty decent ball, actually, for that. I think normally somebody would have played that, but...
I think it's great to see someone like Tom Abell with such a high strike rate, because he doesn't come across as a big basher and a big boomer, but the way he plays spin, the way he manipulates spin is excellent. The way he hits over extra cover, and he just plays some really good cricket shots. And I think he's a clever cricketer. He hits in gaps, and it shows there's still a lot of space for players like that in this format.
Nathan Ellis, and Rousseau's beaten outside the off stump, just trying to play that late and angle it down to third man. I'm just trying to work out now, with Rousseau's 7 balls, we've had about 3 plays and misses. We've had 2 amazing shots for 4, and an absolutely wild hoof through the leg side, which he missed. We've already had everything of 7 deliveries, and that is him, isn't it?
That's why you pay big money to come and watch him, hey?
That is him. Down to a T. Ellis runs away from us then. And bowls to Russo, and Russo hits that into the ground and high over the top of backward point. They'll pick up 2 as it goes down towards the boundary. I think that's Ross Whiteley out there coming round from deep cover, and Somerset move on to 62 for 2 in the 8th. And remember, they are chasing just 124 for victory, and Russo moves on to 11 off 8. Remember, he's already had 2 scores of well over 50 already in Somerset's opening 2 games, in which they won, beat Kent and they beat Essex, beat the holders Kent. Kent 3 losses from 3, trying to defend their T20 title as Ellis bowls, low full toss, and Russo drives up to mid-off, runs the first one quickly as it goes through to Vince. There's a few people got sporting white towels out of their backsides this evening. That'll give you an idea of just how damp the conditions are out there. 63 for 2, halfway through the 8th. And Somerset don't need to do anything too silly, but I'm sure Russo will say otherwise. Just looking at the bananas away to our right. Still got the drinks in hand.
This isn't a bunch of bananas with drinks in hand, by the way. There are people in these costumes.
Yeah, they're moving around. That's played late by Abel. There's an example of what Kyle Abbott was saying there. That's almost like a Neil Mackenzie type shot, isn't it, really, where you play the ball so late into the ground, the ball's actually travelling backwards.
Yeah, when I was thinking about him in the previous over, that's exactly the batsman that came to mind, a Hampshire legend, Neil Mackenzie. I think Tom Abel's probably got a few more expansive shots than Mac did, but very similar mould. And as I said, there's still a lot of space for guys like that in the game, especially if they're striking at 130 plus. It might not sell the tickets like someone like Rousseau that plays some unbelievable shots, but a guy like Tom Abel, those are the guys that get the job done when the team's needing 70 off 35 balls and they just sort of get those games done and get the job done.
Yeah, only 4 sixes tonight, so it hasn't been an entertainer as far as the crowd are concerned, as Russo works that good length delivery on the leg side, runs the first one quickly. Will he take a second? No, Scott Curry is on there as a substitute fielder, so somebody's off for Hampshire.
I think Woody might be off. Chris might be off.
I think you're right.
I hope nothing's wrong. We think he might have slipped in that previous over a little bit at the crease. I hope he hasn't done an ankle or a knee again. Or something along those lines.
3 overs, 1
Toilet break?
25. Chris Wood.
Yeah, it's been a while, maybe.
This is a long game, yeah. Ellis to Tom Abel then. Bowls, leg ball beaten outside the off stump. That's a good delivery there from Ellis. He's come back well, actually. His first over went for 17. In fact, his first 2 or 3 balls chewed up most of that. And he's now bowled 2 overs, none for 22. Somerset are 65 for 2 here. And they need just 59 runs to win, and there are still 12 overs to bat out.
He's bowled with some decent pace in his first 2 overs, has Ellis. He's kept running in and really competed through every ball of his 2 overs so far. Obviously the no balls don't help, but everything else he's really looked like he's been in the contest every single ball and certainly bounced back well in that over.
Yeah.
James Phillip from the pavilion end into Riley Russo bowls. He's heaved that through past mid-on. James Vince is after it, the captain. Can he get there? That's a great bit of work by the fielder coming round from mid-wicket. Ross Whiteley out there.
That was a great combination, wasn't it? And you can see Vince used to be a footballer. Didn't he? The way Whiteley sort of palmed that off, it went quickly and Vince just stuck out a foot and the ball was stone dead. Control. The control was superb.
It was almost like he was ready for it as well, wasn't it?
He doesn't need any more encouragement about his football.
I bet. It was on Reading's books or QPR, one of the two, wasn't it?
I think he's a big QPR fan.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, him and his dad, Mr. Vince, they're very. I've actually gone and watched a game with them before at Wembley. Yep.
Okay.
Rosie does a dance and that's played down to third man. Brad Wheel comes after it. Will just be a single this time. Smart bit of work from Brad Wheel down there. Russo moves to 16, 68 for 2. 57 required for Somerset.
Yeah, they need to be stretched a little bit more somehow. Not easy because it's still pace, isn't it? I mean, the wicket, and whilst the wicket might be a little bit difficult at times, there's still enough pace on it, isn't it? Which the batters like.
And Hampshire need wickets, which is why there's a slip in play at this stage. They've got to try something. The only way they're going to get back in this game is wickets. And Fuller bowls. That's turned sweetly out towards the square leg boundary. Nathan Ellis, the Australian, does the fielding into the gloves of another Australian, McDermott. 70 for 2, Somerset. The crowd's a little bit quiet now.
It's not a thriller, is it?
No, it's not a thriller at all.
It's a good crowd.
Yeah, I kind of just feel like everyone kind of waiting for the inevitable.
Yeah.
With how many runs to win now? 60, about 60 odd to win.
50 odd.
Play a miss outside the off stump. Fuller's celebrated, and the umpire's not moved. Fuller was there on his own. McDermott didn't go up, but Fuller was very interested there. Riley Russo did nothing, and the replay on those watching on the live picture feeds.
Yeah, good luck working that out.
It almost looks like
it's a negative.
It's actually quite a scary image of the Ageas Bowl, that was.
It's like a ghostly image.
But 69 for 2.
That's a serious ball.
Very good ball.
Pace.
55 required. As in comes Fuller to the left-handed Russo. That's played up to mid-on. James Vince does the fielding. Great pick-up. Not taking a single onto him. And they don't need to at this stage either. Hampshire need to find a way. Where are they going to get their wicket, Kyle? Or wickets?
I'm not entirely sure, because nothing's really looked that threatening, except for 1 or 2 balls that have beaten the edge. But when you only need to go at 4.9, you don't have to take risks, and it just doesn't look like that wicket that you're going to get the batsman out.
In comes Fuller again, bowls. That's played out onto the leg side. That's a massive 6. Onto the concourse again, and that beat James Fuller's one in the first innings, and that might have gone out the ground. Riley Russo is in some form for Somerset. He moves to 22 off 15, and 75 for 2. Somerset.
It's a short arm hoik.
Yeah, he's hardly had a swing at that. He's sort of flicked it off his hips, and it has gone a long way. I think that the coffee bar might have stopped it from ending up down at David Lloyd, but he has really timed that well, and it's gone pretty flat out towards the western side of the ground. And yeah, fantastic shot there by Rousseau. Pace on from Fuller, and he's latched onto that. Not much wrong with the ball. Maybe just erring in line slightly on the leg side, but Rousseau has played a fantastic shot there.
49 off 66 balls then. Somerset right in control, just 2 wickets down. They're 2 out of 2, their record already as well, beating Essex by 6 wickets and Kent by 8 wickets, so they're in some form in this competition.
So's Russo. That just missed the fish and chip double-decker, which I'm sure a few people over that way are pleased about. I'll tell you what, there's one outlet there, it's got a queue. There's hardly anybody at any of the others. Obviously something's good down there. Here's Wheel. That's a length ball, and there again Abel just turns a length ball into a scoring opportunity.
It's a churros van.
Churro?
Churros, you know the
churros, the Spanish.
That's the one.
Dessert stuff thingy.
Donut thing that you dip in chocolate.
Yeah, do you like those?
I do.
Yeah. A lot of people do.
Carl will be swinging back round there, won't he, when he goes?
I'm off after 10 overs. So thanks, Jamie.
If you join the queue, you might get them by the end of play. Here comes that Wheel and bowls, and Russo swings at that one. Flat bats up to mid-off, was fielded by Vince. He does have fast bat speed, Riley Russo. He has 22 off 16, 76 for 2, and we are in the 10th over. And I think it's about 48 runs needed by
48.
48, yeah, thank you. So we are well into the evening now, although it's not completely dark overhead. Most of that has been filled in by the dark, heavy clouds. That's flicked away by Rousseau, and as he split the field, he has, and that's gone very quickly as well. Just absolutely raced across the turf, and again, it's just a flick, and it absolutely motors off the bat of Riley Russo. 26 off 17 for him now, and he's 80 for 2, Somerset.
Certainly hit, flicking them and hitting him like a man in form, and he's carrying that in from the last 2 games. Those 2 shots off his hips have really been effortless, but got off the bat at some pace.
If I tell you that in the 3 years he played T20 cricket here, he was never in the top 3 run scorers for Hampshire. Would you believe? As that's slashed away by Rousseau, and he's caught a deep mid-wicket, and that's caught Fuller. And that is Rousseau. Although it's a long boundary side, but he threatens much. And, well, tonight anyway, although he's done it in this competition already this season, he's out for 26. I think Hampshire will be relieved, but it's a wicket, but they still need a few more. 80 for 3, Somerset.
Yeah, fantastic knock though, wasn't it, from Rousseau? Fantastic to watch. He looks like a man in form, but it's not his day today, and in T20 cricket, you're going to get some high scores. What did he get? 67 off 29 in his previous innings, but the way he's playing, the way he's striking the ball, it's a lot to hope for Somerset for the rest of this T20 competition. But yep. I bet you're glad to see the back of him, Carl.
I should be very glad to see the back of him, that's for sure. And walking off there, you could see the frustration slapping his pad. He knew that wasn't the cleverest of shots out towards the big boundary. Perhaps wanted to keep that one on the carpet after already getting 4 in that over. But yeah, great signs for Hampshire, for Somerset, especially with half their games being played at Taunton on a pretty good batting track and small boundaries. I think there's a few bowlers out there who are going to be losing sleep over bowling at Rousseau and Taunton, that's for sure.
Well, I was talking with Anthony earlier, of course, Rousseau almost announcing himself at Hampshire with that big 150 in the 50 over game down at Taunton. Here's that wheel, bowls to Lammonby, the man we were talking about earlier, who has the highest strike rate of any person playing in this game, and immediately he's off the mark with a couple.
There we go, striking at 200, Jamo, you on it?
He's ahead of his career. 147's nothing, he's already 200.
So he needs to get out this ball then to keep that strike rate climbing, is that right?
I mean, that's amazing. We're not talking just a few games. I mean, this is his 45th T20, so we're talking over a period. We're not just saying, you know, a bit of a flash in the pan. I mean, that's quite a serious strike rate. 82 for 3 then. His wheel over the wicket to Lammonby, who works that on the onside again. He runs the first one quickly, and he is quick. I don't think he's going to get 2 there as it goes to fine leg. I think that's Mason Crane in the distance. And that is 10 overs gone. And Carl Abbott, thank you very much. Great stuff. Hope you've enjoyed that. We've enjoyed. You meeting up with Riley later? Or have you met with him and spoken to him? He's going to. Oh, he's staying here, is he? All right, so you can have a chat. Definitely. Good stuff. Carl, thank you. Always great having Carl Abbott on. Emily Winter is going to stay on. In fact, you can stay on there. And it's going to be Anthony Gibson to take you through the next 5 overs with Emily.
Brilliant, thank you, Kev. 83 for 3, Somerset in a commanding position. And the first spin we're going to see from Hampshire tonight will be of Mason Crane, the leg spinner. Didn't quite get his lines right in that opening game, and he'll want to come back here. But Tom Abel and Tom Lammonby at the crease. The left-handed Lammonby to face. First delivery of Mason Crane. And that's forward in defence. Will be no run. Must be very happy here, Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, Riley Rousseau did exactly what I said he shouldn't do. He just fall into the same trap as the Hampshire openers fell into, which is to go for that long boundary and not quite get hold of it. Get caught out in the deep.
41 needed off 59 then as Crane in, and that's pushed out to the cover sweeper. Nathan Ellis will come in. They're running the first one hard, but stick to a single. Lammonby to 4.
I don't think we'll see many big hits from these two. They don't need to. What have we got? Is it 80 for nearly another 40, and we've got the best part of 10 overs in which to get them. 4 runs and over. Get them in singles.
And the only way Hampshire are going to get themselves back in the game, isn't it, is by taking wickets.
Exactly.
So there's no point for Somerset to take any risks here. And these two are very experienced. The captain, of course, Tom Abel, facing up to Mason Crane as he bowls. And that's bowled him! Googly from Mason Crane. Big celebration from him. And James Fuller joins in there as well. The only way Hampshire we're going to get in is to take wickets, and there's one of them. That's Abel gone for 7.
Good piece of bowling. Tom Abel going for the drive, and as Emily said, being beaten by the turn. Googly from Mason Crane, perfectly pitched. Just tempting enough for Abel to look to drive it on the up through the offside. Beat the inside edge. Knocked over the off stump. Well, who knows, there might be a further twist to this game. Somerset do bat long, but they're more than capable of throwing games away, Somerset.
Another experienced cricketer, though, comes to the crease. Lewis Gregory, of course, was the T20 captain for Somerset. But Tom Abel's taken over the reins this year. But when Mason Crane gets fired up as well, things can happen for Hampshire. He is a man of the moment. He is a man that can make special spells, and that's what Hampshire need here. They require 40 from 58 balls.
He's got a good record in T20 cricket, has Mason Crane. He's taken his wickets at an average of just 15 runs apiece, economy of 8.2, which for a leg spinner is a very, very good set of stats.
It will be Gregory to face the leg spin of Crane as he bowls, and that's turned into was the call.
Going down the leg a bit high as well.
85 for 4 then. Crane just into his 4th ball. 2 runs from the over so far, a wicket. And of course the field has to change as the left-handed Lammonby is on strike. Crane in, bowls, and that's played back to him down the pitch. Will be no run.
Another wicket now, and this could get very interesting.
We like interesting. We like interesting, Anthony.
Somerset are a bit collapse prone, as we discovered at Taunton a few weeks ago.
Crane in, he's gone for the reverse, and that's great fielding by Brad Wheel. Sliding there, will be no run. There'll be 1 run to finish the over, sorry. 86 for 4, 9 overs remain. 56 balls, 39 to win for Somerset.
Well, it ought to be a piece of cake, but strange things can happen in cricket, and these two just need to settle things down, put together a bit of a partnership.
James Fuller coming back into the attack as well. He's another man at the moment. He's a man that likes to take big wickets, to make something special to happen here for Hampshire. He played a fine innings in the first innings. 42 off 27. Can he be the man of the match here?
Here's Fuller in to bowl to Lammonby, who works that into the onside. They'll come, no, they won't come back for a second run as Brad Wheel gets around to do the fielding. 87 for 4. Do we have an equipment problem?
I think that sounds better now, Kev. I can hear Anthony slightly louder in my ear. You were too quiet.
Oh dear.
We were trying to turn Somerset, BBC Radio Somerset down. I'm sure Kevin James did that on purpose.
It's not something I'm often accused of, being too quiet. Here's Fuller then to Gregory. He's in and bowls. Gregory drives into the offside. They set off for a single. There's a good tumbling stop.
And Iron Donald again.
Yeah. And single is taken. 88 for 4, 36 more Somerset need.
I tell you what, the standard of fielding here tonight, Anthony, on both sides has been fantastic. Every chance has been taken. The ground fielding, when it's been slippy, slidey, has been fantastic.
Yes, it's not been easy out there on this rather greasy surface. Chilly evening at Botley, just north of Southampton. Fuller is in bowls to Lammonby, who checks a pull shot and just works it down to deep backward square leg, all along the ground, which is the key for Somerset. Try not to hit it in the air. Just play the percentages.
I suppose these two haven't had much of a bat yet in this competition.
No, they haven't. Lammonby has. Lammonby was in brief. Well, they were both in briefly yesterday. They took Somerset home against Essex by 6 wickets. Gregory hit the winning runs. As Fuller bowls to him. Oh, and he's taken on the pad. That must be close. He's gone. Not a surprise when the umpire's finger went up. Gregory going for a big drive, missing it. And plumb LBW, I think it would be fair to say. Well, I did say that Somerset are capable of messing this up, and that's precisely what they're doing.
There's a long way to go. There's a long way to go yet. 35 off 50 balls. He said Somerset bat deep, but Hampshire are keeping themselves in it, keeping this crowd entertained.
Well, 89 for 5 now with that wicket of Lewis Gregory. Again, going for an aggressive shot. Didn't really need to. Somerset may be guilty of a little bit of complacency. They got off to such a good start in this run chase, with Banton and Smead adding 46 for the first wicket in 5 overs. And then they've lost Smead for 22. Riley Rousseau flattered to deceive. He made 26 before holing out. Tom Abel didn't detain us long. He made 7. And Lewis Gregory even less long with 2. So we have got Ben Green, the hero of the last semi-final at Edgbaston between Somerset and Hampshire last September. Fuller bowls to him outside the off stump, and he lets it go through to the wicket-keeper. Yep.
Good pace, good carry.
Well, there is a bit of pace in this. Ball sort of skidding. Martin DeLange bowled genuinely fast, and he hit James Fuller on the side of the helmet, and he gloved Mason Crane.
There's something in the pitch for the bowlers.
Yeah, 89 for 5. Another 35 Somerset need in 8 overs, and this ball from Fuller. This is driven by Green up to mid-off, and there's a misfield, but there would have been a comfortable single there. In any case, so 90 for 5 at the end of the 12th over, and that gives James Fuller figures of 3 overs, 2 for 19. He's bowled, I would say he's been the pick of the Hampshire bowlers. Chris Wood 1 for 25, Brad Wheel 1 for 20 and 3. Nathan Ellis went for 17 in his first over, but came back well with just conceding just 5, and Mason Crane just conceding 3 runs and picking up the important wicket of Tom Abel.
34 needed then off 48. Mason Crane just bowled the 1 over so far, picked up a wicket, and just the 3 runs as he bowls again. That's driven in the air, that's over the top of cover. Will come through for a single. Hands on head from Mason Crane. He loves to create some drama.
One very good shot. He sliced it. Just as well, probably he didn't hit it right out of the middle, because it would probably have gone straight to James Vince at extra cover.
Green on 2 then. Lammonby on strike as Crane bowls. Gone for a reverse. That's a fantastic cricket shot. Middled that, and that's 4 runs to him. Much needed boundary for Somerset, just changing that momentum. Lammonby to 11.
I don't know if he picked the googly, but he waited for it. It was a little bit short. In fact, it was very short from Mason Crane, and it was the googly. And very nicely dealt with by Tom Lammonby, who sweeps very well both sides, but reverse sweep and conventional sweeps and slog sweeps and paddle sweeps, you name it, he can play it.
29 needed then. 46 balls. And a change of field. The point third man fielder's just outside the ring, as that's played nicely out to mid-wicket by Lammonby. They're running the first one hard, but they're not going to get 2 to the left-handed Ross Whiteley.
Putting the fielder under pressure, though, that's I'm sure what you've been coached to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Run that first one hard, be ready for the second. And I think Somerset do that well. I watched the game against Essex, and they do look a very drilled unit as Crane in bowls, and that's driven out to the cover sweeper again. Hands on head from Crane. Whiteley fires it back in.
I don't know what he thought was wrong about that. I mean, it was perfectly straightforward push drive into a big gap on the offside. But
Crane will get into it. He will get into it. He wants to get in the batter's head. But Somerset.
There's a knot of Somerset supporters over there. Somerset, la la la, Somerset, la la la.
Crane in bowls. He's gone for a reverse again. It's a little paddle this time. Wheel comes round, and they will come back for 2. Good batting by Lammonby. He's playing nicely this over. He moves to 14. 99 for 5.
Sweep's a great shot until you miss one. Don't forget what I said about James Middlebrook.
Come on, Anthony.
His tendency to...
You've got to look at the positives here. Somerset are right in control of this. Hampshire have it all to do. Slip in place. Vince has to take a risk. He has to take a wicket. Good captaincy as Crane bowls. He advances and plays that into mid-wicket. They're going to come back for 2. Fantastic running, and Crane nearly takes out Ross Whiteley as well with a 2-footed sliding tackle.
You get a yellow card for that.
Somerset's 100 up then. 24 needed to win. They've got 7 overs to do it.
Good piece of running. Good piece of running and putting the fielders under pressure and getting their reward. So Lammonby has injected a certain amount of urgency and also a certain amount of common sense into this run chase by Somerset. They were just losing their way with Rousseau getting himself out, Abel getting a good one from Mason Crane, and then Lewis Gregory making a mistake in shot selection for the umpteenth time. Here's Fuller in and bowls full length, which is driven up. Oh, and if that had hit from James Vince, then I think Ben Green would have been... Tom Lammonby would have been short of his ground.
And that's the bit of magic, isn't it, that again can change a game, cause a few wickets to fall, but wasn't to be for the captain, James Vince.
Well, it was Lammonby who also almost ran out James Vince in precisely that position earlier on, and they both of them missed when if they'd hit, they'd probably have got their man. This is driven up to mid-off and there's misfielded there, but they've gone through rather too far beyond the stumps at the far end to bother with an overthrow, and they don't need to take any risks. 102 for 5, 22 more. Somerset need with all the time in the world. We're halfway through, well, with 2 balls into the 14th over. So Hampshire, basically, they've got to bowl Somerset out. It's as simple as that. If they don't bowl Somerset out, Somerset will win.
Anything can happen, though. T20 cricket, we've seen it before, haven't we?
Absolutely.
We've seen it before, but...
But Somerset would have to bat quite extraordinarily badly, because they don't need to take risks. Fuller to Lammonby, short, and he goes for the pull and doesn't get anything on it.
Was it just me, or did you see the umpire's hand start to go off and it was actually 1 for the over? I thought, surely not, that didn't look out. He's teasing us.
And it wasn't given as a wide or...
No, it was just 1 for the over, I think.
He's bowled with good pace, as James Fuller. Not quite up there with Marchant de Lange, but not far off it. He's asking questions of these batsmen. He's in Fuller bowls and... Oh,
what a ball.
Yeah. Well, Lammonby didn't know much about that.
And the crowd thought that was a wicket as well, didn't they? They were up celebrating.
Well, it wasn't very far away from being a wicket. This is James Fuller's last over, I think, and Somerset will be glad to see the back of him.
Yep, 2 balls remain of his 4-over spell.
It's bowling to Lammonby. He's there, bowls, and beats Lammonby again, who wafts at that outside the off stump.
From a Somerset point of view, from a Hampshire point of view, sorry, to see James Fuller running in and with some consistency, with that extra pace that you talked about, he's obviously the bowling the quickest in this Hampshire attack. It is really promising signs for Hampshire. It's been a consistent run in the team for him, and he's really putting in the performances for Hampshire.
His last ball then. He's bowling to Lammonby. He's there and bowls. Lammonby works that away down to fine leg. They'll come back for the second run as the throw comes in and get there comfortably enough. So well bowled, James Fuller. He completes his spell with figures of 4 overs, no maidens, 2 for 23. And he has been the pick of the Hampshire bowlers by some margin. And 104 for 5. Somerset need 20 in the last 5 overs.
And he was the pick of the batters as well for Hampshire, 42 off 27. The next high scorer was James Vince with 12, so He really stood up. And Liam Dawson with 13 as well. But it was with what Hampshire needed, and the Chris Wood coming into the attack from the pavilion end, which is good to see because he was off the field for a little while. So Kyle Abbott was worried about his teammate with his previous injury history, but he's on the park and he's hit to bowl, and that's inside edge, back up the pitch by Green.
That's all he needs to do.
19 needed for Somerset, 35 balls to do it.
Now, if you were captaining Hampshire now, would you bring the field in to cut off the singles?
I think this is risk reward. You definitely want to bring some in the circle here because it's too easy for them to knock it about, especially with all this space on the leg side.
I mean, they only need 19 runs, so that they're unlikely to go for the big hits. But you never know.
In comes Wood then. Left arm over to the left-handed Lammonby bowls. That's driven up to mid-off. They come through for a quick single.
That was a risky run, that was, with extra cover coming across. If he cut that off, he was only 5 yards from the stumps.
The thing that Hampshire players need to be doing here, though, is if they are in the circle, they can't be getting those quick singles. They need to be tight. They need to be squeezing because it's too easy. If Somerset can hit and run, as you said, Anthony, they don't want to be taking any risks. Chris Wood at the top of his mark from the pavilion end. Under the floodlights here at the Ageas Bowl. That's pulled away, that's hit sweetly. Brad Wheel comes round at fine leg, slips, but it's just a single still. Lammonby moves to 20, 108 for 5.
Well, apart from that last over when he was facing James Fuller, Tom Lammonby's looked as good as any of these Somerset batters.
He certainly has, he's under control. He's facing this delivery of Chris Wood. Mid-off, mid-on, up in the circle, extra cover, mid-wicket. He's hit it straight through, mid-off and extra cover. Fantastic cricket shot that by Tom Lammonby. He'll move himself to 23 and 110 for 5 Somerset. They require another 14 runs to win, and they've got 32 balls to do it.
Yeah, he gave himself a little bit of room, came down the pitch and just stroked it away through the gap on the offside. Classy shot from a classy cricketer who has yet to fulfil anything like his full potential.
He's getting the opportunity here today to hold his hand up again and see his team home. Here's Chris Wood again into Lammonby bowls. That's hit down the ground, that's up in the air. This time will be 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 4 runs over mid-off's head. He wants to get it done quickly now. He moves to 27, 115 for 5, into single figures then, 9 to win for Somerset, 31 balls to do it.
Yeah, another good shot. He didn't quite get hold of that, but the thinking was good with mid-off up inside the circle. He didn't have to get all of it in order to clear the fielder, and he knew that if he could clear the fielder, it would run away for 4 runs. And as you say, Emily, I think they want to settle this sooner rather than later.
Chris Wood for his final ball of his spell into Lammonby bowls. That's heaved into the leg side. That's 6 runs. Yes, they do want to get this over with sooner rather than later. That's 3 runs to win then from Somerset. And I'll leave you in the very capable hands of Anthony Gibson to see us home.
Thank you, Emily Windsor. A pleasure, as always, to work with you down here at Hampshire. Right, who have we got? Is it going to be Mason? No, it's going to be Nathan Ellis, who has the dubious privilege of bowling what I very much expect to be the final over. It's the 16th over of the innings, so Somerset are going to win this with some overs in hand. This will do their net run rate no harm at all, which is already the best in the South Group, on the verge of their 3rd successive victory.
All yours, Anthony. I think the time is very nearly nigh.
Right, well, we got Nathan Ellis The field is more, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 saving the one. Here comes Ellis. Somerset need 3 to win. Into bowl to, and there's a fumble by McDermott, and they run a bye, which means that Tom Lammonby will be on strike. Just 2 runs are needed now. Which, just to ask you very quickly, Kevin, how come McDermott is keeping wicket and Ben Brown is not?
Well, I'm not sure Ben Brown was ever in the T20 plans. He didn't play for Sussex.
Strange though, isn't it? He's such a good player.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, this Hampshire batting lineup is stronger this year than it was last year. It's just not at the moment happening.
2 runs required for Somerset. Ellis bowls to Lammonby, who's beaten by a really good delivery that comes back and goes between bat and pad. Fortunately for Tom Lammonby, doesn't hit the off stump. Lammonby has scored 33 from 21 deliveries with 3 fours and a 6. And he will end up top scoring for Somerset, whatever happens from now on. And he's batted very sensibly after Somerset just had a bit of a stutter in mid-innings. Here's Ellis to Lammonby. And there's an appeal for a catch behind is given. Tom Lammonby is gone. Peter Hartley took all the time in the world, I think probably because he was expecting Tom Lammonby to walk. The fielders were absolutely convinced that Lammonby had got an edge. So there's a wonderful moment of anticlimax with Lammonby walking back to the pavilion when just 2 more runs were required. So he's played his part, made 33, and got a good one from Ellis, who's showed what he's made of in the last couple of overs.
Do you know what? I mean, listen, Somerset have played really well, but I've just detected in the last 4 or 5 overs or so, we're seeing more balls bite in the wicket off the seam and going really quickly. I mean, Fuller, his last couple of overs, there was 2 or 3 balls which really nipped either away or into the batter really quickly. That there has really nipped quickly. There's a few more coming. I mean, it's a shame actually that Hampshire haven't got about another 20 runs here, or 25 runs, because there's some serious balls that are seaming around there, and they're going quickly now. But I'm afraid it's too late.
Roelof van der Merwe is the new batter. 2 runs are required. You never know what's going to happen with Roelof van der Merwe. Somerset need 2. It's Ellis to van der Merwe. He's in and bowls. No, he doesn't bowl. another moment of anticlimax. It's all good fun. I cannot imagine even Somerset will manage to mess it up from here.
I don't think so. I think it's going to rain. Is it going to rain shortly?
Well, that doesn't matter either, because they're well ahead of
oh yeah, no, I'm just thinking about getting to the other side of the ground, doing some interviews. I'm not worried about the game now. It's too far gone.
Here comes Ellis. Somerset need 2. Van der Merwe's on strike. He's there. He bowls. It's driven away through the offside for 1, and they will not come back for the 2nd. So the scores are level. The scores are level. And Ben Green, it looks as if it'll be him who has the privilege of scoring the winning run. All of the field are, I don't see the point of having a deep backward square leg and a long leg when Somerset need 1 run.
Well, it might be a bit of kidology, thinking that the batter might think it's going to be a short one.
Here comes Ellis then. Somerset need just 1 run. Ellis is in and bowls to Green, who gets that down to fine leg, goes through for a run, and Somerset have won by 4 wickets. They finish on 124 for 6 to nail down their 3rd successive victory at the start of this season's Vitality Blast competition. And well, it has been the bowlers again that Somerset need to credit for their victory, restricting Hampshire, in fact bowling Hampshire out for 123 on their home ground was a tremendous effort by the bowlers, all of whom contributed to that. Marchant de Lange with real pace, Josh Davies picking up 3 wickets for 21, Lewis Gregory 2 for 8, and so on. They all contributed, so that even though Somerset didn't actually bat particularly well when it came to chasing down their modest target, they got off to a really good start with Banton and Smeed adding 46 for the first wicket, and it looked as if it would be an absolute cakewalk. But then there was a mini collapse in mid-innings before Tom Lammonby restored some order with his 33 from 22 balls, and in the end a very comfortable victory by 4 wickets with 4 overs and 1 ball to spare.
Yeah, comfortable victory indeed, just never enough. 123. Hampshire not able to get any momentum in the top half of their innings, and it was really only James Fuller towards the latter end that made any sort of dent and put the Somerset bowlers under any kind of pressure. But the only pace setters in the South Group now are Middlesex and Somerset with 3 wins apiece, and for Hampshire that is now 2 defeats out of 2, and everybody knows in these parts just how bad Hampshire made a start to their competition last year. They're actually, would you believe, in a worse position than they were last year, because they actually had 1 win by now. They've actually got 2 defeats. I don't think there's anything too much to worry about, but I just think that, yes, it's 2 games out of 14, but there are just areas that aren't quite firing, and I think the batting maybe now maybe have to be looked at a little bit, because it's not quite working. The players are there, but the form isn't.
Well, Somerset will go to the top of the group with
the run rate,
6 points from their 3 games, 3 wins by 8 wickets, 6 wickets, and now here today 4 wickets, and they've already, even before this win, had a very healthy net run rate of plus 1.225, which is better than Middlesex, who are their rivals at the top of the South Group. So it's been another very, very enjoyable evening for Somerset, their supporters, and indeed for their commentator.
That's for sure. It makes the journey back a lot easier, Anthony, that's for sure, because it's not the easiest journey, of course, at this time of night. It will be a bit later. Thank you very much, Anthony. Thank you.
Great pleasure as always, Kevin.
Yep, enjoyed you being here. Thanks to Emily. Thanks to Kyle Abbott as well. It was great having Kyle with us. Adds an extra dimension to our commentary. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed our commentary over the live pictures, especially those pictures of the sunset. I think that was my highlight tonight, that sunset away to our right. And on the live picture feed, of course, we're going to be signing off. And also, if you're listening digital radio in Somerset, we'll take you back to their studio. And on BBC Radio Silent on all frequencies, we'll take you back to our studio and Cane Reeves.